Noah, I'm bringing in my Jewish advocate, my token, Noah Kulwin, to. Oh no! Here we
changed it up.
We changed it. We have a go more further.
Oh,
further,
over this way,
all the way to the orange mark.
Oh
You
my
see
gosh!
that?
Yeah,
you got a mark down there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, brother.
Wow. It's legit.
Yeah, come close into the microphone, of course.
Yeah.
But
that's neat.
Yeah. Here it is. Noah Kulwin in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Noah Kulwin is here. Visiting once again,
hanging,
and looking skinny as well. That's what people are saying in the chat, but I also noticed it. I didn't want to say anything, but a Jewish guy called Noah, you don't see that very often. I agree.
Pretty rare.
Yeah, very rare.
Although I'm bummed because when I was a kid, Noah was kind of a rare name, and now
you
they're
made
like
it popular.
lots of kids. Yeah, and they're all Christian, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so
I don't think if all Jews got called Noah, it really moved the needle on anything.
Yeah. Noah's Ark.
That's our story.
Yeah. It's her story.
No. That's I don't know if you know that. That story actually belongs to the state of Israel.
Okay. Well, good to know. So we're watching Joe Scarborough fucking lose his mind. And
he's mad at you.
He's mad at everyone.
But didn't he say he's never listened? He said he hates you, but I've never spoken to him. I never listened to him.
Yeah, we didn't even get to that part yet. But
oh, good.
Yeah, Noah's mic is a bit loud. Okay, I'll lower it.
Noah's mic is a bit loud.
Okay, I'll lower it a little bit. You don't really hear that often on this broadcast about my guest being a little bit too loud. But here, let's get back to the video.
We're bringing this up now because it seems an awful lot like what was happening in 2024 when Democrats couldn't get out of their own way to win an election they should have won.
He's so mad.
Yeah, he's
so mad.
His argument also revolves around like electability when it's like, the electability argument is if you just shut the fuck up about Israel.
He's so mad, dude.
Yeah, I'm
sorry. I'm hung up on how like he's I don't know if I've ever seen. I mean, not that like I'm a Joe Scarborough scholar.
I'm a Joe Scarborough head.
Oh,
so I can tell you as a Joe Scarborough academic, this is what I studied in college.
Oh yeah, you were in regional studies with a focus in Scarborough country.
Yeah, communications degree. It's crazy. I did not see Joe Scarborough this mad after Trump got elected. He is more mad about this stuff, about my existence in media, and Daria Lisa going to a pro-Palestine rally on October 8th, where she was right but too early by Joe's case. I guess like January 6th is the last time he was this mad. Like, I don't know. He wasn't this mad when Trump won. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, but he's like angry. Like he's had part of it. Look, I also believe a bit in the principle that like part of sometimes when you see people get spitting mad on TV, that's partly because they had to work themselves up into it. It's a lot easier to do your job of like being on TV and talking about bullshit if you can like amp yourself up. And I mean, this is like the trick to ESPN. This is how Fox News people do it, is that like it's way easier to and makes for better television if you're just persistently agitated and you work yourself up into that frenzy than it is to discuss things like an adult, frankly.
He's so mad. He's mad like Mika saw the meat pick. You know what I mean? Like that's how fucking angry he is. Like he caught Mika looking at the meat pick or something this morning.
He like comes home, he saw the Rolling Stone spread and it's just like, mother, like Joe Pesci, motherfucker.
And Mika's like, no, you don't understand. I was reading the articles. Like I was reading the article. It's just I don't know how the Schmeat pick made it into my time. It's crazy. Have you seen Debbie Dingle talking about?
Oh that? Yeah, I was like, I don't get it, but he's handsome or whatever. I mean, I thought that was.
She's like, yeah,
I appreciated the honesty.
She's like, yeah, he takes his shirt off and he's working out. Anyway, let's continue.
Send your metaphor. The Democrats have the ball at the 2-yard line. Now they have to call the right play. And there are ways they could botch this. There's no question there. Getting at the ball at the 2 doesn't mean you're going to score. Seattle Seahawks about a decade ago in a Super Bowl is evidence of that. So this is where Democrats are, and that's why there is such scrutiny. It is understandable why there's such energy on the left, and we've just gone through all the reasons why. There's a lot of energy there. People are tired. People are sick. People think these fundamental issues need to be addressed. But that energy comes with a spotlight, and some questions have to get answered, and that's why we're looking at so many of these races right now as we head into the stretch run of this election year. We talked about Wisconsin. Joining us now live from Madison is MS Now reporter Will McDuffie. Will, good to see you. What are you hearing from voters ahead of tomorrow's closely watched primary?
That's right, Hank. I'm here in the streets of Milwaukee, and they're saying no to Hasan Piker. This is the primary concern of the electorate broadly, and that is what they are angry about.
Just imagining you're spending like all this money, like you send out like a camera crew, you've got producers, you've got like people doing all this money, all this labor intensive, and it's to have a guy standing out of state capitol so that he can answer questions about Hasan Piker.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Because of the candidates involved.
Well, I mean, we heard AOC kind of laugh off the idea of woke one, but that's resonating with voters here because people, Democrats we've met who don't like Francesca Hong are citing things like her tweets to cancel Thanksgiving and abolish the police. And she has said that those are bad takes that she made 5-6 years ago under the stress of being a small business owner and being a student. But mind you, like, she made those comments when she was either running for the state assembly or was already sworn in. So she was a public.
I don't care.
Dave Weigel brought this
man.
up. Dave Weigel brought this up in his analysis before, but it's like very strange that like there's been a total reversal where like Francesca Hong comes on my stream and we talk 2 hours. We talk for 2 hours about policy, about what she's going to do for the voters, like what she cares about. And then she goes on mainstream media and they're like, well, you made a Thanksgiving tweet where you said folks with an X in 2020. Why don't you kill yourself? And it's like it's completely topsy-turvy. You would expect like independent media, people like myself, to be silly and like, do silly things, care about silly things, talk about silly things. Whereas the sensationalized quick media hit environment has made it so that they're talking about silly things when they go on mainstream outlets for like, 2 to 3 minutes. Whereas when they're here, they talk about policy for 2 fucking hours.
I mean, look, I'll give my simple answer about why that's the case, which is, do you think that Joe Scarborough could lead an interesting discussion about like data center politics? Like the answer is no.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I just genuinely believe that the reason they're talking about this is because this is what they're equipped to talk about. Like why is ESPN like currently in this like stupid meathead era? It's because like they employ meatheads to like talk about takes, and like they have fewer people with knowledge, and we're getting reporters, which is to say that like this is not just in politics. It's just that obviously, politics arguably matters a little bit more than sports media. And at least in this case, it's like, yeah, Joe Scarborough is just like, that's not what he talks about. He's not the guy to explain like, like in Wisconsin, part of what's like powered for Jessica Hong's, campaign to the position that it's in is like a lot of resentment and a lot of anger about a whole set of like policy issues and realities about people's lives that don't really have to do with Hasan Piker.
The Francesca Hong polls should be a wake-up call for the DC elite to be like, how are we getting this so wrong? And yet, in their sense of entitlement and their unbelievable smug elitism, they're like, we shouldn't even, look at our priors and maybe try to analyze what Wisconsin voters are paying attention to, what they care about. And instead of doing that, when you got like someone up 20 points, right? So against the established media narrative, instead of looking at the environment of like what the voters are demanding, they're like, no, the voters are wrong. They're just stupid. They're just stupid, wrong, and unaware that like she is a bad candidate. And it's unfucking believable. Like 20 points. She's winning every demographic except for 65 plus, where she's tied with Crowley in the last poll that came out. She's winning every demographic by like 60 points. If you go back to like the 18 to 35, she has like a 69 point advantage.
I mean, I think another part of this is and also look, 10 years ago in a different lifetime for me, when I was like a reporter covering Silicon Valley and media. I had a boss, a great reporter named Ed Lee, who told me, just as like an exercise, like look at the average age for the people who watch MSNBC. I guess now. That's
MS Now.
Sorry, that's the dead name. MS Now.
Yeah. Multiple sclerosis now.
And Fox and CNN. And what is the commonality? Like the average age, and this is in 2016, like every single one of those networks, the average age of their viewers was into the 60s. For Fox, it was like 69. I think CNN, it was 63. And MSNBC, it was 61. That was in 2016. That was 2016. I do not imagine that those numbers have improved substantially.
No, they've just gotten older.
And so, again, I ask you, like, who is Joe Scarborough making this for? What kind of stuff is he equipped to make? And like, it's, I don't think it's, when I say it's that simple, I think it's like that simple in the dynamic what's going on. What I think is not simple, however, is that these are places and venues where lots of people who do not think like the people on the TV screens, it's still where they get their information. And so, when we look at like Crowley's support, I just, I'm not a Wisconsin demographics.
By the way,
I'm not a Wisconsin elections effort, but I can't imagine that it's like, it's such hard, incredibly like resolute support. It just has to in part to be a function of like, people like Joe Scarborough focusing on this shit.
This is who Joe Scarborough is doing it for. It's it's tailor-made for the Republican midterm strategy that Democrats are in a state of disarray. The base is the base is not united. The base is actually very angry at like the left flank and its manifestation in the form of this like rabble rouser Hasan Piker. That's why it's immediately on Fox News. Joe Scarborough goes scorched earth on Democrats not separating themselves from Hasan Piker. So I repeat my message once again during the night of the primary victory party for Abdul El-Sayed, which is lock in to the consultant class, to the establishment Democrats. You have to recognize what they're doing. This is not a successful message unless you actively try to train the boomers that watch you into believing that the base is actually not united because they just can't get over this fucking hump. We'll fight no matter what, and we'll most likely win no matter what. But it's really annoying to have to fight the Trump forces, to have to fight MAGA, but then also on top of that, to have to fight establishment media as well that presents themselves as, knowing the best interest of the masses, especially the 65-year-old audience that's like 40% of the base of voters broadly that are still getting their notes from MSNBC.
Well, also, I mean, look, I think some of this is a little bit about like these are also a group of people who they wouldn't frame it as such, but the way I see it is that like they want to say in their own decline. And again, I believe that what is happening is like a generational political transfer in a lot of ways. Like that's what we mean when we talk about like how age is such a factor here, right? That it is this like process by which like people who are older are expressing incredible and real anxiety about like the loss of position that they themselves has. They don't consciously see themselves as a generation, of course, but like that is the dynamic we see play out across people of a certain age, generally speaking. And to me, that's, it's like, these people look and they see like, oh, we're getting displaced, but it's not by like Pete Buttigieg. It's not by like our the chosen inheritors of our legacy. It's by the engaged, knowledgeable people who all tend to happen, which I think it should tell you something that like most of the people who do have like talent and interest and charisma and who are able to reach other people in that way, that they do tend to come from like at least like one section of the tent. Figure.
David Sirota had a good point to jump off what you're saying. The corporate Dem faction from Carville to Tandon to Scarborough to Iglesias, Ezra, Chait, etc. got so used to issuing political directives from fancy TV studios and social media feeds and seeing those directives loyally followed. Now the populist faction is out in the streets organizing voters and winning, which makes the corporate faction mad. They're losing power and they aren't happy about it.
I'll give a qualified agreement to that, with the qualifying being that I don't think that some of those names were big enough to get used to issue any fatwas.
Okay,
but
fair.
I do think that like like especially Neera Tanden, seems extremely obvious that but like that essentially everybody that she has beefed with on the internet for the last 15 years is coming together to like root for, the death of the political primacy of her wing in the party. I mean, and also look, like she's
same with
like
James Carville.
if you're I just tend to think of it as like Neera's best years were the ones where she had a job that literally did not allow her to fight on Twitter. And now that she's back and doing this, I think it tells you something about the status of let's say like her movement and so forth.
Yeah, she's out here retweeting Epstein and like Rape Tone, who's I don't know if you know that one.
I'm
the
familiar
bald
with
one.
Tech Tone, yeah.
Yeah. Like he's retweeting these like reactionary forces because they're attacking me. And it's like, if you're in the fucking dirt and your primary focus is to disparage like a left media personality, you fucked up. Like,
well, also no, but I mean, like, look, like I think it's even dumber than that. Like Neera Tanden like literally does not do her job. Like straight up.
Yeah.
She runs the Center for American Progress, what is supposed to be like the most influential, substantial left think tank. It's supposed to be incredibly productive.
Yeah.
And she spends all fucking day, not as far as, and I say this as a guy who also spends a bunch of time on Twitter and doesn't mind making posts. Like,
we're the policy papers.
Like I
we're
don't
the
see
fucking
her,
policy
like
papers.
she was a head, she was a senior policy official in the Biden administration. I do not ever see her talking about matters of policy.
Bro,
I do not ever see her with ideas about like what the future of the country should actually be. All I see is her like getting really mad about elections.
Who is worse at their marketed jobs? Organizer memes, which never post memes or ever organizes, or Neera fucking Tanden, who's supposed to be at the Center for American Progress.
And also, look, like we just know that the evidence is that like she's quite bad at running that organization. There was the time that, she outed the name of somebody who had been a victim of, I believe it was sexual misconduct in the workplace, and she outed that in a public setting and caught a little bit of shit. There was the time that she targeted all the employees who worked under her who had been critical of Israel, and then she subsequently had Benjamin Netanyahu. I mean, like I like Neera Tanden's actual record of actions speaks for itself. Sorry,
she was brought back. She was literally brought back to CAP so that she could come in, make sure that the previous president of CAP was insufficiently Zionist, was eradicated. His influence was eradicated from the group. And then she also ended up bringing in Anthony Blinken to the board of trustees for the Center for American Progress. So like, it's very clear what her goal is. Her design is to ensure that the prestigious premier left think tank or liberal, I guess somewhat progressive think tank is still churning out like Zionist propaganda. That's her fucking job.
And I mean, I think, look, I do think there are a lot of people at CAP who do perfectly fine work and everything. I think it's more.
Yeah,
like,
I know people.
But of course, we both do. It's
yeah.
Where I see this though is that it's like, Neera gets to coast on the work of all those people who work for her, who do things that are perfectly anodyne and fine. And obviously, there are those who probably don't. But she gets to coast. She gets to benefit from all their labor so that she can like spend all day on Twitter whining about Abdul spending too much time.
Yeah, look at the board of directors. Look at this. Anthony J. Blinken, like John Podesta, Neera Tanden, Donald Sussman. I mean, I guess you got Julian Castro. He's all right.
It's fine. I just think it's like, look, like I just think it's she's not a serious person. She's never been a serious person. She's a political liability in pretty much any context she's ever existed, and she treats everybody else on the left side of the aisle that exact same way, like that they're the carriers of the plague that she is. Yeah. Like that's bullshit. Sorry. I just don't, it sucks. And it also, what I dislike about it more than anything is probably the like amount of oxygen that she sucks up from other people. Like she derails shit and it's irritating.
All right, let's
years ago, under the stress of being a small business owner and being a student, but mind you, like sworn in, Milwaukee won in terms of Democrats who spoke to us. They were against Hong because of electability. They just didn't think that she could beat Tom Tiffany in a general election. I mean, we're talking about Wisconsin here, purple state. This success we've seen with DSA has been in like deep blue congressional districts, and now we're talking about a swing state. But she does have a bunch of appeal, and we'll get to that. But I do want to play some sound from a voter who expressed those electability concerns.
I think he is electable in this state.
The implication there is that
It's always so funny that like the primary purpose of mainstream media at this point is to just like badger people with an electability concern that has no proven rate of success, and then go to the people who literally listen to those concerns and interview them to be like, see, we succeeded in finding a guy who trusts our who agrees with our narrative that, like, you know, Crowley is more electable. Now, we've covered extensively why Crowley's not electable, and the polls don't seem to show that he is electable, but you shouldn't feel confident at all.
It's like we're how many years into this like lesson of learning that electability is also not something that exists on a left-right spectrum. Like Donald Trump was more electable than Hillary Clinton in 2016, which is a sentence that like should you know,
he wasn't,
and you know that like is because people had like different, you know, it's what is electable mean stuff. And I'm not saying that means, I'm not, by the way, saying that means like Hong is more or less electable than anybody. That's not my point. It's just that like I think electability is like it's you know, unless you're talking about like, did somebody say, I don't know, sexually assault somebody else? I don't know just why that might be have a relevant political concern to bring up in a candidate's credibility of late. Like, yeah, that's one thing, but like in general, like electability as like this idea of it's not, I don't know. It's like it's like something like as something for people among the masses and the chattering classes to get super head up about. It just feels boring, misplaced.
Here's a good take, by the way. The reason attack ads targeting candidates over association with Hasan Piker keep not working is because for 90% of the people that would care, it requires explaining who Hasan is first. And at that point, it's just an ad about some guy.
This is what the polling
candidate.
shows. Sorry, Hasan, I hate to break this to you, but like nobody knows who you are.
No, I know. That's what I've been saying, but nobody listens to me. None of these guys who talk about me,
they don't understand that you have no motion. Yeah, you have no hose.
I got no hose, no
you have
bitches.
No stacks.
My weed is not fucking loud. My smoke is not loud.
Like
at
you're
all.
pure mid.
Yes,
pure mid.
And for the people that do know me, if they don't like me, they are never voting for a Democrat anyway. And the ones that like me will go out and fucking knock on doors and canvass for a candidate. And it seems to be at least significant enough that candidates are invested in eating the barrage of like media attacks. Dude, this is so funny. This is like, they are so angry about the I'm white Lamau moment. Yeah.
I mean, it matters a lot to them.
Yeah, no,
it's like, kind of all that you got is really, that's my reaction to that is like, it's, you know, it's like, well, like, it's kind of all that they have. Even if
you're not white, please stop.
Even if they includes like a blue check account in New Delhi that is posting pro-Israel white nationalist identity content all day.
Yeah. What is this? Fox News, racism is hitting a second tower. What is this? Tickets for Hasan Piker, 120 to 1,200. What the fuck is this? Hasan Piker's an anchor baby's parents. Communism is a rich kid hobby. Bro, this has 7 likes. You're literally, what you're doing at that point is just like you're giving this insane narrative more light than it is ever expected to take. Anyway, here's the second part where he continues on with Pablo, my goat. Pablo tries to defend me on the contentious Scarborough media hour.
But because there is a historical analysis instead of a political one, you are missing the opportunity to build a coalition. And so what do? I think you try to avoid the faculty lounge, which is what that sounds like. It sounds like an opportunity to have a conversation that you should be having, not right now in the middle of an election, but at some point more abstractly.
Did you see this pending community note? Least racist community note in 2026? I'm White Lamau, an essay on the inequality of human races by Gobenau, published in 1855, has classified the Turks as a yellow race, mediocre intelligence at best. The Turks are classified as dense and ponderous. I just
want to give a shout out.
White trades through the practice of white slavery.
I just want to give a shout out to Nikita Beer. You were the worst CEO, like in Silicon Valley for a time. No, of X he was. He was the head product guy, whatever. He ran the fucking thing.
Yeah,
and it sucked. You blew it. You blew it, dude. It stinks now. It's so bad. And it's like, because you let stuff like this happen. You signed your name next to this stuff, dude. This is you. And now you're gone.
Yeah,
and this is like what most people are going to know you for.
Yeah.
Like this thing that you fucked up. That sucks.
Yeah, but
God, that sucks for him,
but he
dude.
changed the.
Doesn't that suck for him? I think it sucks for him.
He changed the Iranian flag for a day. Remember, in the heat of the the Iranian.
Isn't it funny how the Strait of Hormuz is going to be closed longer than he had that job? I bet. I bet you that.
Okay,
I bet
that's actually true.
I bet you that the Strait will be closed for longer than he had that job.
Strait's still closed. And Nikita no longer is capable of making these decisions at Twitter because he has to leave.
Because he got fired.
Yeah, it's crazy to get fired from Twitter. Like you were Elon Musk's strongest fucking soldier. You did everything he wanted, and you still got fired.
You still got fired. You made it. You screwed up.
Closed.
You made it worse. You did such a bad job, and you still got fired.
Oh,
you still got fired.
It's not great, man. Not great. But hey, he left this wonderful white supremacist platform in the backdrop. All right, let's get back to Pablo.
And in the meantime, you try to point out, look, Hasan Piker. I've talked to Hasan Piker before. I don't think he's Nick Fuentes. I think he's more like Charlie Kirk. And the idea there is there are people.
God damn it, dude. That's your defense? We sat side by side. He
That's pretty
cooked
funny.
my ass, dude.
Yeah.
He fucking cooked my ass. Damn.
Carry that flame.
Yeah, we gotta.
Well, I think now he's more justified in saying it.
What do you mean? I do carry the flame.
Well, there you go. Then why are you bitching?
Every day of the week, I carry that motherfucking flame, boys. Okay, let's continue.
People who exist to provoke on the other side. And the question is, as a party, as Dems, do you then hold yourself to a standard that is beyond what, again, the other side equivalent of the aisle is doing? And that's a political calculation for a party that hasn't made a lot of those, frankly.
So I haven't spoken with Hasan Piker and haven't listened to him. When you talk to him,
wait, so you went on this motherfucking rant? You went on this motherfucking rant? That's crazy. He just admitted that he just never watched me. That's crazy.
Did you ask him about 9/11, about the justification for 9/11, or him being unconcerned about Israeli women being?
No, because normal people don't do that. Like, normal people are not like, hey, by the way, like, I know we're hanging out right now, but when you said America deserved 9/11, what was going on there? Like, I disavow you. Like, that's not a normal fucking conversation that takes place.
Raped on October the 7th. That's not a leading question. I'm genuinely curious.
No.
If you had the opportunity to talk to him about that.
Have not debated him on those issues. I know that that's stuff that I would never say. And the reality of that analysis that he has is familiar. It's the idea of American empire, Joe, and like, what have we wrought that we are now suffering, which is, again, this academic historical analysis from a million feet. But Abdul al-Sayed, from what he's saying now, right? What he's saying is, I would never say it, and it's unconscionable. And that's correct. But I welcome, by the way, that conversation.
Coward.
I don't even think it's a thing Hasan would debate at this point. It's something that you say when you're trying to make a point that forces the mainstream to reckon with all of the costs of what American militarism has done. And I would not say it's ridiculous.
I just don't know how talking about Jewish women being raped has anything to do with
horrible.
What America's foreign policy has wrought. And
Yeah, I mean, this is the Newsbusters. I don't know what else he said. I don't know what else Pablo said. I haven't spoken to Hasan Piker and haven't listened to him. Joe Scarborough explaining that he has extremely strong opinions that require shouting indoors about a person he's never listened to.
Even Ryan noticed it. Like, he's shouting. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Also, it's because he has to work himself up because it's a non-issue and he has to like get all high and like it's also the talking about like Israeli women getting raped thing is also like a tell because it's about like, well, listen, I may have been loudly insisting that Israel should have had any and all, means at its disposal to wage what like snowballed within a matter of hours into becoming like, like a genocide by any like sane measure of it. But we need to focus on one of the guys who did call that correctly because of a point that he made in service of that argument that I didn't like. And it's like, all right, this is fucking boring, dude. That's boring. You're boring. You don't. Yeah. It drives me crazy. Because it's like, what do you do? Like, how do you, he doesn't want to have a conversation. Clearly he's not listening to you.
Yeah, this was a truc too. Hasan Piker's response to 9/11 was awful. The way he lied about WMDs and invaded the wrong country and manipulated the media into cheerleading a criminal war of choice and got thousands of innocents killed. Not cool, man. To which Glenn Greenwald responds, this is a key point about the endless Hasan Piker discourse. This media figure spewing rage and demanding everyone denounce him are friends with and have amiable chats every day with the world's worst war criminals, people who started immoral wars with massive amounts of blood on their hands, who tortured, who kidnapped, who caused the 2008 financial collapse. Whatever you think of Hasan Piker, he did none of that. He hasn't bombed anyone or obliterated families or caused generations of economic deprivation. His main crime, aside from the main one, hostility towards Israel, is that he streams for 12 hours a day every day, and they can find 2 or 3 things that he has said that they repeat over and over, particularly the 9/11 comment, which he retracted and for which he repeatedly apologized. Watching these media figures who are friends with Bush and Cheney, monsters, and Obama fiends who dropped drones on wedding parties and oligarchs who wiped out 2 generations of America's financial security act as if Hasan Piker is some unique evil is utterly farcical. Seems like they arbitrarily picked someone out to use as a symbol and scapegoat for channeling public rage in a politically useful manner. Considering he's a live streamer and the whole purpose of the medium is to be edgy, they also really have found very little to justify even that, as seen in the House resolution personally condemning him, which had almost no substantiation, bizarre and authoritarian system. Like, the wildest part about it is that, like, I've spoken for more than 22,000 hours since I started live broadcasting on Twitch, and it's, those numbers are going to continue growing, right? They have like 5 fucking things, and like 4 of them are not even fucked up, and one of them you could describe, you could explain, and most people would agree with. And it's crazy that that's what they're doing at a time when, like, it's very clear that, like, most of the public don't give a shit about choice words. They don't. They voted for Trump. They voted for Trump to win the presidency twice. So they don't give a shit. Like the whole, like, yo, you got to apologize for your fucking words. I think they should be apologizing for their words. They've been defending Israel even to this day.
But it's like, this is about, like, okay, like, if Joe Scarborough started asking himself those kinds of questions, then it would sort of necessitate asking a whole lot of other questions. And I just don't think he's ready to pull that Jenga brick. And so this is, like, what's kind of sad about this situation, frankly, which is what I was saying about how, like, you can't talk with these people. It's what's sad and frustrating is, like, this is not an invitation to discourse. This is not a good discourse. What it is like
it's really good discourse.
It's a weapon.
For them.
I mean, like, look, it's
really good discourse for them because it literally takes away from having a productive conversation about anything.
It becomes a thing, like put it this way, right? Like, it becomes a question that they use, a framing device that they use when talking with an AOC, when talking with an Abdul, when talking with literally anybody whose politics are somewhere to the left of Rahm Emanuel. Yeah. Like, they will get asked about Hasan Piker now. Even if their politics are to the right of Rahm Emanuel, they will get asked about Hasan Piker now. Yeah. But that's not my point. My point is that, like, if you're a progressive, you are going to be held to account for whatever it is that you say, fine.
Yeah.
And that's just, like, it's not actually like they're not interested in, like, having a conversation about any of this stuff. Or, I mean, having a conversation with you. It's they want to use your whole existence as a cudgel. So they're going to recycle the same 4 quotes until, and, listen, we could workshop this today. We could give them a new quote.
Yeah, I'll say something crazy.
We could do that today. Like, right? Maybe that would be a good use of time.
Yeah. This is, I think, a pretty good button to end this segment on. It's wild at the left's excesses because it goes back to the woke 1, woke 2 argument that we were having, or the conversation we were having earlier, that, like, the left's excesses on woke 1 were just, like, bad tweets or silly tweets.
They also weren't. I mean, I don't know if I don't want to be totally duplicative, but, like, well, first I want to preface anything that I say on this with that, like, I despise the pejorative phrase of like how people talk about and use the word woke now. It has felt like racism won in that case, and that, like, people now use, like, a piece of AAVE in this like totally like desultory way that I've never particularly liked or found comfortable, and I think it's cheap and lame, but it's just the world we live in now, and so I despise it. So with that preface aside, is also that like I posted this photo on Twitter earlier, but like 12 years ago, I think it was 12 or 11 years ago, when I was working for Recode, a website that Kara Swisher ran, and a news site covering Silicon Valley. It was later bought by Vox, but at like our flagship tech conference, Jack Dorsey was there sitting with DeRay McKesson on stage, and Jack Dorsey is wearing a hashtag Stay Woke shirt. Like, part of what feels like so frustrating about all of this to me is just like the broad conflation of like everything that people don't like about like, whether they call it cancel culture, what they didn't like about like racialized political consciousness or political consciousness along about issues of racial justice. Either one, take your pick. Like, all of this shit felt like it's just like, well, we're going to take the worst shit of that and we're going to lay that at the feet of like Francesca Hong. You know what I mean? Like, fuck that. Like, I'm just not like,
it's a way to rehash the same fucking narratives of like cancel culture. Don't you remember how annoying you guys were and how annoying you made us feel, how bad you made us feel for our
remember
positions?
How bad you made me, like an executive at LinkedIn, feel for whatever fucking like fuck like
and it's like, and they leaned into it at the time too as a marketing tool. And
it was it was cynical then. It's cynical now. Fine.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I'm not really interested in throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
But doing it right now also is annoying because you're basically in some respects like, were there excesses as far as like annoying tweets? It doesn't matter at the end of the day because the excesses of the moderates, as Julian Brave Noisecap points out, are foreign wars with death tolls in the hundreds of thousands, and the rights excesses are like literal attempts at authoritarianism, putting people in concentration camps. Like, if the worst thing that a left politician has is a fucking annoying tweet or whatever that is technically not wrong, right? But just like it makes you feel bad about
and look,
American history.
And none
or
of this is about like not learning how to like prioritize certain messages over others, having to like be approachable in what you talk about, like use it, like, also like beginning discussions that you can finish and sound credible in, like, which is not always easy with talking about things like defund the police. Like, granted, this is what being like individually judicious and personally strategic means, right? And disciplined. But it is also just like, that doesn't mean I just like I just don't feel comfortable with like all the woke one, pre-woke, woke two, all that shit. Like, it's not a discussion or a frame of it I particularly like. And I think
it was just fake. It was always the thing that annoys me is like the corporate the corporate, like the corporatized version of like the sanitized identity politics and social justice was like very clearly a marketing technique, and people weren't wrong to call it out. I mean, I called it out at the time too.
Well,
to
yeah,
say, like,
I mean, I remembered like being like suffering the consequences for being perceived as a person who like might have called like it's just like it's a little bit through the looking glass right now. I think a lot of the people also like some of the stuff that like really grinds my gears are seeing a lot of the people who were like hiring managers and editors in chief and senior executives at companies that like led the charge in some of the more dubious aspects of what they are now calling woke one or whatever. And it's just like, I would literally rather just like skip this by, pay it no mind, and try and move on and find more productive ways to talk about any of this shit.
Yeah.
Just because like the amount of hypocrisy that I feel like as somebody who has a memory longer than 10 minutes with this is like, it's going to make my eyes roll.
I also
back
think,
into the like, into fucking like 2011.
I also think it was really fucking annoying is the people who are like hyper obsessed with culture wars on the opposing side to be like, this is all culture wars. And then they become culture warriors themselves, like Zayd Jilani, who literally has made it his life's mission to only talk about like woke one or how ridiculous it was, where you're like, okay, you're doing the same thing on the opposing side. Like you're and far worse because you happen to be also on the side that is like somewhat less empathetic, less moral, or less historically correct at the very least. And I find that to be just as unproductive as the people doing the opposite thing. Or if not more unproductive, because you're still a fucking culture warrior at the end of the day. Like, you're no different. You're not above it. You're not above it at all when all your output revolves around identity politics and how the shallow nature of it or the cynical deployment of it.
Well, I also think like what it really limits you with more than anything, right, is that it makes you into a certain kind of an idiot. And by a certain kind of an idiot, what I mean is that you lose Like, to me, a huge amount of like politics, and at least shapes what I think about what my own politics should be, is like where I see like the people. Like, where are the people who I want to be with and who espouse values and seem like talented and creative and have like an, you know, like a dynamic understanding of the world, and it evolves to suit it, and, you know, while retaining a commitment to the same kinds of values I hold. Like, I think about where are the people and how to get to them. And I really never find that like any of these people who organize their identity, organize their perspective, organize their frame of reference around these issues and around like the you know, quote unquote backlash of all this shit from the last decade and a half or whatever. Like, I just, the last 5 years in particular, I find that they're not with people. They're not in organizations. They're not committed to being a part of like the kind of fabric of life that I want to be in, and or that I think is healthy. It's if anything, like they're often like kind of parochial, and they're obsessed with like real like Norman Rockwell visions of what community life and relation are like. And I don't think that that's that surprising. These people also often struggle to make eye contact in real life. They dress badly. You know, they don't have I'm willing to go so far as to say that I find that like it is like an antisocial tendency, and that like the more and more you engage with people who think like that, the more and more it just comes out. And I'm not trying to talk about like specific individuals, like just more like as the last years have gone on, it's a thing I feel like I have noticed in encounters with people who think like that.
Yeah. All right. Now we're gonna move away from this to
the goal is to make him seem
the Pod Johns talking about unhinged Republican drops extremely racist ad. They're hitting the high notes about Abdul. They're talking about Abdul. They were early Abdul backers. Let's be real. Which I give them credit for.
In a very Islamophobic and racist way.
This was like a legitimately good ad. The grandma steals the show. She's so good in this.
Welcome to Political Reference React. Joining me today is the Bulwark Sam Stein. Sam, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Good. We got a bunch of ads to watch. It's been a very long week. We're recording this on a Friday after the Michigan primary. I'm sure, like me, you stayed up too late and woke up too early on that night.
Literally, I had to do way too early the next morning.
Oh, look at you with your
3:45 a.m. I was struggling. Hey, Dan, I was a little bit worried about recording at this time. It's Friday, 1 p.m. Because the ballroom decision came out 2 hours ago. I know you're a big White House ballroom guy, and they stayed the construction of it. So if you want to take a beat and do this later.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for me. So I've been envisioning my first state dinner in the ballroom one day under this Democratic president. Okay. Let's get to business here. I want to start with this, as I mentioned, recording this a few days after Abdullah Syed became the Democratic nominee in Michigan. Here is his Republican opponent's Mike Rogers' first ad.
I'm not here to disavow people's views.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
When I was in college, I took
I wonder what the Bulwark guy is going to have to say about that. He's going to be like, this is a banger political ad. Abdullah Syed should bring Hasan on stage and put a bullet in the back of his head. Only then can we do true centrism. True centrism has never been tried. We just have to pivot to the center, and Abdul can only prove that he's pivoting to the center if he does a ritualistic sacrifice of Hasan. He's Muslim. Muslims do that kind of thing, right? Like with sheep and goats and stuff like that. He should just kill Hasan like that. I'm not Islamophobic, by the way. I'm at Bulwark. I'm a liberal now. Sam actually isn't that bad. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I just assumed I'm painting him with a broad brush of the rest of the former Bush people that now work at Bulwark.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
I'm not here to disavow people's views.
I am in support of abolishing ICE.
Because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the
Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
The people who listen to Hasan are engaging
that one is
they
pretty
want
funny.
A way forward into our politics.
If you were on the El Sayed campaign or someone who wanted Mike Rogers to lose, how worried would this ad make you?
Not that worried, honestly. Yeah. It's like basically what you would expect.
Okay.
I think he's right.
I probably thought it could have gone in a different direction because it did barely feature El Sayed, right? It's like a bunch of.
So that's okay. Hey, pause real quick. Maybe we'll talk about this. That's what I was struck by it, is that it's like I wouldn't understand the point of that. Like, okay, imagine you're like like you're like Grandpa Simpson, and like you see that ad, I would be like, huh? Like what? Like it wouldn't. I don't
It's
know.
just like random black and brown people.
Well, but it's also like what? So what is it like? Is it reminding people that there's a Muslim guy on the ballot? Like
I mean,
I don't know.
That is their.
But even that is like, to me, it's like they're gonna see his name. I don't think it really matters. Like that's my point. Is like I'm not. I don't know. I'm unpersuaded.
This is gonna really hurt my chances of winning the Senate
exactly. That's
seat
what
in
I'm
Michigan.
saying, man. You're really cooked right here.
Yeah, I just I had a lot of great ambitions of carpetbagging to the beautiful state of Michigan to defeat Abdul El-Sayed.
Somebody's got to make like a supercut of all the ads against you, frankly, and we can probably make from that like an actual ad that is against candidate Piker. Like at this point, there's got to be like hours. Candidate be like.
I think I've probably gotten at this point since I started moving this community's weight around a little bit to push for Zoran. And then all these other candidates, I probably have more attack ads against me than like a small market, like a smaller district Democrat.
I think in some larger district ones too, to be honest.
Yeah, because the New York City mayoral ad push, the Zoran is hanging out with Hasan, best friends with Hasan, buddies with Hasan ad, that was $3 million. And a part of that is because the New York market is like very expensive. But like that was $3 million worth of ad spend on just that ad alone. That was Michael Bloomberg, by the way. Shouts out to Michael Bloomberg and the Tisch family for spending those $3 million. It didn't work. But like that literally on its own is a larger amount of ad spend than most districts in the country.
When we live in the woke imperium or whatever, we're gonna make them disclose anti-Hasan ads, just like they have to do for the real candidates. They're gonna have to get reports on those.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I don't think
almost no one knows who they are.
Yeah,
almost no
exactly.
One. Maybe Mamdani. Maybe Mamdani they know, but that's it.
Maybe Mamdani. And if you know who Hasan Piker is, you're voting for El-Sayed anyway.
That's right.
He's right.
That's what I've been saying.
That's
okay,
it.
my
See,
mistake. This Bulwark guy isn't like weirdly obsessed.
No, he's like, I was waiting for him to prove you wrong by opening his mouth. He's a reporter. He's fine.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have the historical knowledge to answer this. Has there been like an effective campaign run by just going after a candidate's associations? I mean, obviously Jeremiah Wright is like comes to mind, but like Obama won, right?
Yeah.
So,
but the inverse of that, or the response to that is, well, Obama cut Jeremiah Wright out. But I think he cut him out after he won, right? I don't even think it was before. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be
no, it was in the
misremembering.
campaign.
It was in the campaign. Okay.
It was in the campaign. I mean, it's the.
Also, Jeremiah Wright wasn't. I don't think Jeremiah Wright was like campaigning with Obama.
But it's like fucking stupid. Sorry, it's like the comparison doesn't work because it's like the whole the way that like the conditioning. I'm not calling them. It's just like why I don't think this comparison works and why people are typically right to avoid it. And like they're criticized in the middle of criticizing it, but it's also because the thing that people are actually describing is the Bill Clinton Sister Soldier thing, and then the Obama version of that was rejecting Jeremiah Wright or whatever. In the way that he did, which was to like great rhetorical flourish, say that he wasn't rejecting him while rejecting him. But that doesn't work in this case because like they campaigned with you. Yeah. And like they included you at some point, so there's also like the political calculus is different.
Yeah, no, it's
because
100%.
It's like you're either inventing a mistake for yourself to admit to, or you're just acting as if no, this isn't a thing, and you proceed normally, and then it goes away because that's how these things go.
Yeah, no, that's what I've been trying to like explain to the centrist Democrats, the centrist Democrat consulting class on Twitter, who have been like obsessed with trying to get a scalp because they lost the race. But at least they can get like one off on like me because they weirdly enough center me in this fucking candidacy for some reason, due to their personal animus. And what they fail to realize for some weird reason is if Abdul were to do that, you're right, it would make him look bad. Because then, first of all, we know nobody gives a shit about apologies because I apologized for the 9/11 comments in 2019, and that's still prominently featured in every ad. That alone is evidence that like no one gives a shit about apologies. As a matter of fact, sometimes they'll use the fact that you apologized as a weapon against you to be
Well,
like,
and then
well,
if you keep apologizing for it years later, you just make it work. No, I mean, like, there's no, again, this is like why then they'll be like, well, that's why you shouldn't ally with people who say these things in the first place. When it's no, you're just going to continue beating a dead horse until you hope that your enemies fail, and then you can claim that their failure was because of the dead horse that you've been beating.
And by the way, this already has happened. So we have proof. Like, they'll just simply, the only weapon that they have to wield here rhetorically is the fact that it hasn't worked in a swing state and a statewide race yet, which it will. It's not going to work here either, in Michigan either. But like, it didn't work in the mayoral race. Then they were like, oh, that's the New York mayor. It's super woke. New York City's super woke. And then we did it in other districts where it didn't work again. That affiliation, that guilt by association didn't work in any of these races.
There's
so
also
far.
no short to medium term. Like, I think a lot of what's also important to emphasize, right, is that a lot of what's part of why I find like Neera Tanden's marvelous, insightful, truly spectacular interventions on Twitter and electoral politics is that, like, clearly what is happening in so much of electoral politics right now is not just because, like, oh, progressives are doing all these incredibly, you know, strategically savvy things, or democratic socialists are doing these strategic things. It's because, like, the environment has shifted such that those people now have advantages that they didn't have before. And those advantages that they've been given, you know, for example, it's that, oh, I don't know, cost of living issues did not get better when Trump took over. They have gotten worse, and they're getting worse all the time.
Yeah.
You have the new the data center thing, and the fact that the Republicans have literally made themselves the party of data centers, such that the Biden administration was all the AI people, they all more or less like got in bed with Trump prior to 2024, and now, you know, they're reaping that whirlwind. Like, they so identified with him and so identified with the hegemonic position that now that is like, you know, now that's powering a lot of campaigns around the country. Like, to me, again, it's like you're essentially, like, by trying to do this whole thing of like beat again, like trying to like wage the war on the faculty lounge, to use that awful metaphor that like David Axelrod introduced. I really didn't like it at the time. Like, if you're like trying to do all that, it's like, okay, but like, just so you know, that is a little bit like you're not picking a particularly good fight, because like, if you look at the macro environment, like, Democrats are poised to be broadly successful no matter what kind of Democrat they are in this cycle. And it is because of how the environment has been arranged.
Yeah, and it's really annoying that they keep like giving credence to the Republican attack ads. Like, the Beltway pundits are consistently giving credence to the Republican attack ads and making it seem like the Democrats are in a state of disarray. And that in and of itself becomes the narrative. And every moment that is wasted on that is a moment where we're not talking about cost of living crisis, endless wars, and all the other, and unlimited corruption from the Trump administration for his close allies and associates, including the Epstein class. So this person said, I talked with a bunch of legislative consultants in Washington State, and they mentioned you a bunch. They view you as a consultant like them, and they see you as fucking with the bag. And I think that's a big part of the reason why these guys are fucking unbelievably annoyed. Because unlike consultants that get paid to do this shit, I don't get paid to do this shit. I do this shit because I believe in certain candidates, and I spend money out of my own pocket to do it. And not only that, but also those consultants don't have a base. Those consultants don't have like an army of fucking volunteers that will then get primed and activated. So they're very fucking frustrated. And simply put, just as for a lot of the people in the media, they're frustrated with the changes that are taking place and the lack of relevance and lack of attention that the mainstream outlets now hold as opposed to independent media. Consultants feel it as a similar thing, where they're like, oh, you're coming into my environment. This is my space. I have to justify my level of, you know, my level of knowledge in this field. And now you're fucking it up for me.
Well, also just like, I mean, in general, like, consultants are, I think, not like, I mean, the election, the progressive victory, I think it's just, you could state it even more simply, right? That the campaigns that have been so successful in the last few months, and that have sort of, you know, changed the narrative on its head a bit. Like, some of them employ consultants, but I think it's extremely clear that what has made those campaigns win is not anything about the consultants. It's about the positions. It's about the organizing. It's about the energy for them. It's about the environment. Whereas I think in general, the conventional understanding, like entrenched in narrative, like the sort of intuitive understanding that many people in politics and around politics have of campaign politics, is that consultants and staff matter, you know, like they're everything. And like they're not nothing. That's to be clear. There's such a thing as talent and perspective and knowledge, but there is also such a thing as avarice and incompetence and graft, and also ideological, blind capture and blindness. And it's certainly, I think we can see how that's affecting the way these establishment versus social, democratic socialist races have been playing out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's continue with this analysis.
I was struggling to think of like a case where someone got really harmed in a way that.
The amount of volunteers for Abdul and Donovan that I met last weekend that specifically mentioned you by name as the reason for being there was insane. I know you like to say you're not that big of a deal, and that's what a lot of centrist haters of yours have been saying, but your impact was made known last week, and I hope you know Hasan Piker has showed up and showed out. Yeah, of course. We're everywhere. We're fucking legion, dude. We are. We're impossible to ignore.
Cost them the election because of the people they associated with.
Yeah, I've thought about that as well, because for Obama it was Jeremiah Wright, but also Bill Ayers, one of the Weatherman bombers.
Yeah.
And that was a big push from Sarah Palin in the end of that campaign. That did not really work with voters. When there's an association, it usually is association. It's a consequence of a policy decision. The most successful one is obviously Willie Horton and Michael Dukakis. But that's different than just you palled around with the person or you were a surrogate on your campaign. I mean, this ad presumes a lot of knowledge of who Hasan Piker is, because then it says they don't really identify him. And then at the end, you have this hard to hear quote from Abdul saying, something complimentary about Hasan right after Hasan talks about the blood of capitalists in the street, which is not a helpful quote, I would say, generally. But
True.
But it does, where like the goal is to make him seem extreme in a very Islamophobic and racist way.
Also, it's funny because Abdul's like, I'm a capitalist. And I like him. So what's up? Is this like a sincerely held policy position, or am I fucking LARPing with a person that I was talking to in 2018 in a 10-second clip?
I just
like, what's that about? Like in 2026, I'm literally, I'm literally sitting side by side with a person who's a self-avowed capitalist.
Yeah, me. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Way, and this is a mediocre execution of that strategy.
Yeah, I mean, what I was saying is, and maybe it's coming, but like the more effective.
All he said is that it wasn't helpful. I mean, it's true. He's also right. Of course,
yeah, it's not like
ridiculous.
I mean, it's
a ridiculous quote. Like, what do you mean?
Version of the strategy is to actually have El Said saying this stuff, as opposed to just sort of insinuating that he has the opinions of the people who have endorsed him, and none of whom they will know. But yeah, and also it was just like a franticness to the ad where it just jumps around. You have a few F-bombs. It doesn't really say anything about El Said other than he says, like you mentioned, that he welcomes Hasan Piker to the political discourse. So, as far as like, and I'm not saying scare tactic ads don't work, because they do, obviously. But I didn't think this one actually delivered much of a punch. It seemed kind of
like, what is it scaring people with?
Bunch of random people.
Yeah.
If I were doing it, I guess I would have focused
out of context clips.
And then been like, this guy, El Said, apologizes for Hasan Piker, and then just go into the sizzle reel.
Yeah, I mean, and even then, I'm not sure it would be effective. There's another version of this ad that is, I can't remember if it's from which Republican super PAC it's from, but it has, it basically shows these people, and then there's a quote of Abdul saying, "I'm dangerous," which is about dangerous to the system and the billionaires and all of that, but using that over and over again. That's a more effective version of this. Yes. This strategy they're going to use, of which I think this ad is a poor execution of it, is an interesting test of whether this sort of post 9/11 scare politics still works in America.
Yeah, how does it work? So they're going to run this ad, and they're going to see audience reaction to it, and they're going to ask them, "Does this make you more or less likely to vote for El Said?" And then,
what rather
is that it? And then they'll figure out if that actually is sticky.
Well, they probably
tested it beforehand. Yeah.
They probably tested it beforehand. And ad testing, there's a lot of debate in Democratic circles about the effectiveness of ad testing, because you're watching ads in isolation.
Right.
And so if you're seeing, because you see the ad and you react to it, but you're not.
Pause this.
This
is the other thing, though. If it's also about like you're making ads that flatter the people buying them sometimes, and like I don't know if that's the case here, but I'm sure like this is a phenomenon that people bitched about a lot with like a lot, like I would say like earlier, like Bernie Warren era, like kind of DSA candidates, was that like there were a lot of campaign ads that got cut that people like not cut like deleted. I mean cut like that were made and published that rallied a lot of people on the internet and felt like they were probably pretty good at raising a certain amount of small dollar donations from across the country. But also there was the problem of the fact that like they didn't register with the people who were actually voting in a given district or anything. And you never really saw these kinds of candidates like take those steps. Like I'm reminded of like Canilla Eng ads, from like like years and years ago.
Okay, here's a suggestion. I want to hear your opinion on this. Since the Republican Party has decided that they are going to put my clips out there and like mass blast them as like their only midterm election strategy, what if I made a political campaign ad for myself talking about how I'm not running for office and how the only reason why they're doing these clips out of context are because...
See, this is the problem, man. That is a good idea, and you take all the air out of it by telling everybody, hey, or asking everybody on stream, like, hey, yo, is this a good idea?
I think they don't watch. They don't listen. They do watch. They take fucking notes. But I was thinking about doing it and then just like fundraising for it, like a GoFundMe or something, like an initiative specifically, and just hit like the peak media.
Yes. No, that would be
peak media fucking.
Yeah, it would be very
slots.
funny. It would be very funny.
Like a real Mad Men.
No. That's not how you do it. The way you do it is that
Mad Men had an episode where they were talking about Nixon, where they like canceled out the JFK ad spend because there's only a finite amount of hours that you can buy TV slots on.
Yeah, but like that kind of ad money is like you're gonna put Kaya in the poor doghouse. No, you have to. What you have to do is you got to do what like every company ever does when it's like the Super Bowl, which keep that in mind, which is that it's like what you do, right? Like okay, every company will say like, oh, we cut a Super Bowl ad, and then what they do is like they will buy ad space for the Super Bowl in like one part of South Dakota. And so they've bought an ad that aired on TV on the Super Bowl, and they can honestly say that, but then they just publish it on YouTube and they go to like, Ad Week or whatever, and are like, hey, look at our Super Bowl ad. And so that's what, so when you do this,
well, I could also do
when you do
I
this,
do one.
When you do this next year, so people can go back to this clip and they'll see.
I'll do one small market.
Was.
I'll do one small market, and then the rest is just all streamers, which is cheaper and like the space that I occupy anyway, like YouTube and all these other platforms, and we just do like a YouTube push.
Can you buy ads on Kick and Rumble?
Dude, I don't even know if they have.
That's what I'm asking. I don't know if they have. If they just gave up on that.
Yeah,
I'm scared. I don't want to. I actually kind of don't know if I want to know the answer to that question.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Ads for 501c4 that exclusively centers its attention on lowering the age of consent.
You literally have to be elite. Like the thing that you are advertising has to be illegal for you to try and advertise for it on there.
Yeah. Oh wow, they deleted the fucking initial. They deleted their initial post with Chris Hayes and Alex Wagner. I don't know why, and then they re-uploaded it. Since you deleted and reposted this after, I assume, having big feelings about commenters calling you out, adding my comment again. Piker's not being paranoid here. Yeah, everyone, dude. That's the funniest thing about the Podjahs is like their audience is literally like every time I'm on their show, even if they're like criticizing me or whatever, the audience is like, no, we love what he's saying. You're fucking wrong.
Well, this is why, like, I think people in general, like, part of why I like this weird moment that we're in politically, that I do, like, I'm not saying that like a bunch of people with like, like that a bunch of essentially like small millions, like 7-figure millionaires getting in their feelings about like in the Trump era all of a sudden means that we're gonna have a communist revolution. But it is like extremely clear that there is something like a political conscious shift going on vis-a-vis the Democratic Party and what people are willing to do to challenge power within it. That is pretty novel. And if you look now, the Podjohn's comment section is an example of this. But for years, I've always told people, look at the New York Times comment section. There is no group of people more antagonistic to the editorial output of the New York Times than their own commenters. The same thing, by the way, is also true for the Atlantic. Like a lot of these publications that like aggressively orient themselves toward an imagined center.
Yeah,
their audiences are just liberals who are mad that they're not liberal enough.
Yes,
and so then they support leftists.
They're constantly fucking rage baiting their audience. Like that's all they do. It was the same with the Ross Douthat interview that we did. I was looking at the comments. They had to like shut off the comment section after like 1,000 comments of everyone being like, Ross Douthat, you're a fucking right winger. What the fuck are you talking about?
This is because they know that if they aired the Seth Harp, this is why they know that if they aired the Ross Douthat Seth Harp tape, they know that the comment section on that would move so quickly because of all of the war justification going on that it would ultimately it would lead to the heat death of the universe.
Yeah, dude. Shannon Watts, why did PodSafe delete the clip critical of Piker? And then she recorded it on her phone. Dude, what is wrong with her? Yo, Shannon.
Well, I mean, we don't know that she recorded it, but I love the idea that she's sourcing its because they reposted it though. Why did they? I mean, do we know why they deleted it?
Elijah Cohn says, "Hey, Shannon Watts, we just wanted to make the clip longer and add more context. We do this sometimes. Not uncommon for us. Could have waited to take it down until we had the longer version cut, but it's back up now. Thanks as always for the interest in Pod Save America." This guy, another one of these like centrist consultant guys, Caven Schroff, Big Hill Dog.
Wait, no, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Kayvon.
Kayvon. No, it's
Kayvon.
No, it's a real name.
Okay.
That wasn't what it looked like to me from a distance.
When's the last time you did it, and what context was so important to add? Last one was a joke about Spirit Air that we felt like wasn't landing on social. For this one, we wanted more of Chris's answer on the assertion that establishment Dems support Rogers over AES.
This is the thing, man. It's like these blue anon people. This is actually, people don't know this, but this is actually like a mutation of an earlier strain of a virus called Puma from 08.
Dude, they're insane. For the sake of transparency, will you say if there was any request by Hasan Piker to take down the clip? Dog, why would I give a shit? Every outlet is up my asshole right now. You think I care about fucking a Podjon clip that's like half-heartedly defending me?
He's lying. Last night, dude, you should have fucking seen him working the phones.
Yeah, they're going to clip this and be like, it's proof,
No,
by
he
the
was
way.
last night, dude, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Shannon Watts.
I was making the boss
Shannon
call.
Watts.
I'm
telling you, I'm not lying. I am not making a joke. I'm telling you straight up. Last night, Hasan was he was on the phone for like 2 hours. He was like Tommy Vitor, I'm gonna come for your kids if you don't take this clip down.
No, literally.
Like you're so cooked.
Yeah, no law. Hasan Piker did not reach out to us and edit a social clip. This was all producers and social people like. Picture a bunch of mid-level people bouncing an idea in Slack, thinking nothing about it, then waking up to it being a thing online. How much is Piker paying you? Is he threatening you? Are you in duress? Blink 5 times if so. This person is a fan of mine. They're making a joke, I think. It is strange you just have a new post ready to go if that was something being talked about in Slack. What the fuck? These people these people are insane. Shannon Watts wrote a manifesto. A manifesto takedown. Why do I feel so strongly about Hasan Piker's rise in the Dem Party? I started Moms Demand Action in the day after the Sandy Hook school shooting in 2012. You know what? I'm
gonna be honest, those two sentences do not connect. Just a writing tip. Even if you have a topic sentence that's a bit different than what immediately follows, you are supposed to typically make them connect to one another.
Yeah.
But that's just
You know what's crazy about this? I spoke at one of her rallies in like 2016.
And what did she say about that?
She doesn't know. She doesn't remember
Wait,
that
really?
I spoke at one of her rallies. Yeah. Move more. No, hold on. Move more to the.
Oh yeah, no, I slipped
This
from
is
the
a professional studio, sir.
No,
Move more to your mark.
Sorry,
please.
I got to hit my. You've done all this great work blocking, and here I am blowing it.
Yeah.
So wait, sorry. You played a Shannon Watts rally?
Yeah, I did. I spoke at a Shannon Watts rally. I think it was Shannon Watts. Moms Demand Action was part of it. Yeah, it was like David Hogg was speaking at it and stuff. Back in like 20, like when it first happened. I forget when it. To fight Piker, Centrals will use necromancy to revive Gobenau, Lothrop, Stoddard, and Madison Grant. Yeah.
They're old They're old racists.
Yeah. No, centrists are unearthing the ancient science of race realism and race determinism, race realism, race science.
Jamie, can you pull up the Kalshi odds on the first university to offer a physiognomy course in the next year? Thanks.
Phrenology is back, baby. I literally did her rally back in the day, but that was before she became this insane Zionist for some reason. Someone's got to be paying her. I think like, or she's just lost her dang mind.
Look, no, we know it. I mean, like I don't want to say that because if I don't know it, but like I think it seems extremely clear these days that there are a lot of people for whom Israel is an incredibly fierce attachment, and they are willing to let their inability to see justice on that issue pollute their ability to see it in anything.
Yeah,
it's quite sad. Many such cases.
She's like comparing me to fucking Alex Jones here, which, you know, I gotta go pee, so I can't even go through this. So I'm just gonna let this run
Real
instead.
world simulation of what people are actually seeing, because you're not, you know, if you're actually seeing this on the news, you're also going to see a pro Abdul ad afterwards, or you're consuming content in social media or conversations that can be counter to the ad. So, and you know, also open question of whether this is a media play and they're actually putting money behind it, which the use of Hasan suggests it might be.
You think so? It's too long. It felt like too long for me for that, right? Like if you're going to do this online, you'd want a little bit of like a 15-second clip or something.
Well, yes, if you're actually putting money behind it, but if you want to get it, do an ad so that people like us will talk about it and they'll put it on cable news or local news, then it has to look as much. I mean, it's all a fake game that's been going on for decades, but you just say it's an ad, you give it to the press reruns $6 behind it.
Six figures behind this one.
Yes,
$5.
Yes, depending on how many decimal points you go out. If you like this video and you like Pod Save America, I promise you'll love Message Box, which is my Substack newsletter where I break down what's happening in politics, give you real analysis based on years of experience and data about what's happening in the midterms, and actually help you initiate that conversation. Let's look at an ad that he ran in the primary.
Where did Abdul al-Sayed come from?
Here.
We're his grandparents.
We helped raise him.
He became a doctor.
He always wanted to help people.
He got all those kids glasses.
Good crowd pop on that one.
He buys us groceries every week. He knows what things cost.
Now he's running around with Bernie Sanders trying to change politics.
We love him, and so will you.
Too much. I'm Abdul al-Sayed, and I approve the heck out of this message.
Language.
I died when I saw that. I mean, look, the grandma steals the show. She's so good in this. She has a future in
That was
acting.
a nice ad.
I thought it was honestly, and I know people.
Did you see that ad?
Bulwark in the podcast. This was like a legitimately good ad.
This ad with his Abdul's parents and his grandma.
Like, this person's funny. I will remember that nice ad. Like I will remember that ad. And obviously the point here is to humanize.
Yeah, the point here is to humanize. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. Political ads are boring. That's okay. Noah, how do you reconcile Verso with being revisionist? I don't. I live with it. Oh, nothing. It was going further, and they watched a good ad, and like, what do you have to say about a good ad? You know,
him to like make fun of and poke fun of the idea that this is some scary
on night. This race has become quite contentious. It's got a lot of attention. Talk about old tweets and positions and whether a DSA candidate can actually win. Francesca Hong is leading this race, presuming the polls are correct. Let's take a look at one of her ads.
It's so stressful to get by these days, and I know a lot about stress. I work in restaurants. I started in this kitchen 15 years ago, and you might recognize what's across the street. A lot of people in that building don't get why it's so hard to get by right now. I'm State Representative Francesca Hong. I'm a service worker, community organizer.
When we look at each other, are we looking at each other on screen?
My community sent me to the Capitol.
I don't know.
I think so.
I think so. Kind of, yeah.
I'm running for governor to fix it.
I saw Austin Ox talking mad shit on Twitter. Yeah.
For years, we've been told that doing better isn't possible. Well, let me tell you, that's bullshit. All we need to do is fight together. We can fully fund our public schools. And
I don't think there is
universal
into this ad.
We can guarantee paid leave and have cheaper health care. We can fix a rigged system that puts oligarchs over workers and small businesses. We can do better. I'm Francesca Hong, and I'm running for governor because I know that together we make better possible.
So as I mentioned, Hong is leading in the polls. She got a pretty sizable lead. There's a poll out today that has her up 22 points. So even if the polls were as incorrect as they were in Michigan, she'd still win by double digits. She has been on a media tour recently. She was on Pod Save America earlier this week. I
saw millennial music.
CNN, other places.
Really, that was
responding
like,
to
I was
a
like,
bunch of
that is some
tweets she
stomp
had
clap shit, bro.
in 2020 about canceling Thanksgiving, about defunding the police, about white supremacy, a whole bunch of things. And I think if you watched those interviews she did, you might wonder sort of why she was leading the race by so much. But I think if you see this ad, it kind of makes sense. What do you think?
Oh, you like the ad?
Well, I think the ad shows why her message resonates and why people would go to her. Because if you she's not great in contentious one-on-one interviews, but there is real charisma and a message of hope here that I think helps explain why she's getting in this poll out today. 44% of Wisconsin Democrats.
So we'll have a disagreement on this one.
Yeah,
but
disagreement is
you're
good.
obviously right because she's doing great for the primary, right? So like clearly proof is in the pudding, which she may or may not make at her restaurant. I thought the ad was very frantic. It made me unsettled. It jumped around a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it was a good ad, but it's not because like I disagree with the content. It was just like very
biographical.
There are a bunch of different sequencing, and like you don't really know what it's
vanilla.
Well, you don't know what it's about until like you're kind of in it. Like 'cause she's in the kitchen, and then it takes like a little minute before it like flips to the legislature thing, and also like I like the Rosie the Riveter bandana worker thing. It's nice. But it just like the ad's a little bit cluttered. Like, what's it about? Like Abdul's ad, for example, what's it about? His family. Like, what was Francesca's ad was about? She's a worker. It's about MAGA controlling Wisconsin. It's about her campaign platform. It's about, she's in a library. It's about
we're part of the Hong dynasty. So they're saying we're sending you to Siberia.
This is constructive criticism. I'm not saying anything about the content. I'm just saying it wasn't. You want honest criticism when you get Noah Kulwin, okay?
Okay. Well, you're going to Siberia nonetheless.
Okay. Take me away.
All right. Let's see.
It's dumb for that to be out there.
Voters debate candidates cancel Thanksgiving comments.
You love Thanksgiving.
Yeah, everybody goes home for Thanksgiving. When are you going to fight with your family if you don't have Thanksgiving?
It turns out that hot takes about canceling Thanksgiving don't go away easily. We're in the final hours of the...
We're making sure that it doesn't go away. As we're in the process of making sure that this is the only salient narrative right before the... what is this? Right before the fucking election. If you think Hasan Piker, a guy friendly with many Jews, including myself, and who clearly has issues over people associating Judaism entirely with Zionism is the high point of anti-Semitism, you have no idea what's coming. Yeah. Oh, this is my goat.
Oh, well, yeah, that's Lewis. Adam Lewis Claude. Yeah.
Yeah. What Piker says here all sounds completely logical, even articulate and compassionate. Oh, well, thank you for recognizing that. Unless anti-Zionism is also thematized as bigotry. Anti-Zionists will always claim to reject anti-Semitism until their anti-Zionism itself is called out directly. Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah. Notice also the amount that Piker has been repeatedly and aggressively taken to the task for his anti-Semitism has not remotely changed his proclivity to blame Israel, spread anti-Zionist libels. Anti-Zionist libels. I like
repeat hackneyed anti-Zionist talking points like Zionism isn't Judaism. It's had zero effect.
It's actually anti-Semitic to say Israel.
Also, what the fuck is he saying? What does that mean? It hasn't. No. Zero effect because
his number one thing. This guy's so funny. He's such an insane person. His number one thing is to say it's actually anti-Semitism isn't anti-Semitism. Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism.
He's the most like. I don't read anything he writes because for so long it was so obvious that he was just feeding his shit into an LLM. And it was like, you lose, like, even as a hater, I won't engage with your shit if you're just putting it into like whether you're Kyle Kuzma or Adam Lewis Klein, I'm not going to read it. Sorry. You lost privilege. You lost Noah attention span privileges.
Yeah. I like that. That's his primary concern though. And I respect it. That's his primary concern. Notice also the amount that Piker's repeatedly. Oh yeah, we saw that. Sammy says the shit I see on Instagram Reels is infinitely more hateful, blatant in its use of anti-Semitic stereotypes and gets hundreds of thousands of likes. And people, and those aren't even strictly political. Those are just normal people. Israel's making life miserable for Jews. It's true.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a big proponent of the idea that like if we like snapped our fingers, right, and like Israel as such like didn't exist tomorrow, and like there was a state of all of its people, from the river to the sea, like a single democratic state or whatever. I like the amount of worldwide anti-Semitism would go down so dramatically you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And it's not
even right now, like
right,
even right now, if like the most prominent Jewish institutions weren't doing exactly what they've done for the last like 80 years and been like, we are the most vociferous defenders of Israel because Israel is everything to Jews and it's all Judaism. That association is one that favors Nick Fuentes, is identical. Jake Tapper and Nick Fuentes believe the exact same thing. Nick Fuentes hates Jews. Jake Tapper loves Jewish people and thinks he's doing a sufficient line of defense for Israel and Judaism when he does that. But that association between Zionism and Judaism remains identical in their commentary.
I mean, and now they're like, what I think is getting harder and harder like to prevent, and I mean this not in as a judgment of the value of people who make this association, even though I think it's wrong, but like the conflation of Jews with Israel, like I feel like powerless in many respects to stop it. That like when I tell people like listen, and I say fully and honestly that like Israel is not the end all and be all of Judaism or Jewish people. It's increasingly hard to make that case, not because I don't think it's true, but because the amount of like very obvious evidence for most people who don't think too hard about these kinds of things, is weighted to suggest that no, like, well, Israel is like the Jew place, and it is like associated with Jews in this way. And part of the way I know that is because all of the people who are Jewish that love Israel and Israel itself, they both claim that, and they get the privileged voice in media.
Yeah, there is never any prominent anti-Zionist Jews that are given space in the media ever. I talked about it earlier, like no Gideon Levy, even like Ilan Pape, Avi Shlaim, Ross Segal, like anti-Zionist Jews are blacklisted openly, like Ross Segal was, who I think he won his court case as well.
He got a settlement from the University of Minnesota because they rescinded an offer for him to get a genocide studies chair.
Yeah,
and they
had to pay him $250,000.
They Minnesota got to sign one of those agreements. They got to say something that like they're not admitting fault, but they had to pay $250,000.
Yeah, and it's like Brad Lander, who calls himself a Zionist, is the closest you can get to like a critique of Israel that revolves around calling out its occupation, its apartheid.
I mean, I think we periodically get people like Ta-Nehisi Coates was, when he was touring his last book. No, but that's true. Sorry, we're talking specifically of Jews. It's also like there's been now this issue though of how and this is like I will say like I can't totally put this on the media. Like this is in part like a failure among like like I'm saying it's a failure of my people in this one. That like there is just the open embrace of the conflation, and that like this after like talking for many years out of both sides of our mouths about like it's actually anti-Semitic to conflate Israel with Jews. Now that Israel is being existentially challenged in discourse, as was always bound to happen in a moment like this.
Like, do you not think that it would be productive to at least show Americans that there is discourse within the Jewish community on this issue? If your goal is to simply say that this is a topic of debate.
Because they don't want to let a kind of discourse thing happen, because the truth is that for a lot of people who are very smart, very sensible, very responsible stewards and purveyors of discourse, the idea that you would take seriously that like Israel would end is like a sign of like that's more defund, abolish the police, like delusion, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like you and I, right? Like when we say stuff like that, we think we're describing like a practical reality, a thing that is going to happen.
Yeah, 100%.
Like not soon, not in some particular time scale, but that is going to happen because the contradictions that sustain it, won't allow it to persist. And that's not a critique that we have of every institution that exists, but it's certainly true of the Israeli government. It's just not, it's not going to be able to sustain itself for a variety of different reasons over a long period of time. And I would be happy to go into all of those. But I think that there is now like what we've now like what those like these smart protectors of discourse or whatever, what they have done by marginalizing this is that they've made it really, really difficult. So that now that this discourse does exist, and now that more and more people are raising it, is that as we move further into that reality, they're just not going to be equipped to actually like process the reality in front of them. You know, just as in the same way that like when October 7th happened, they were not able to process the reality of what was going on there because like they were, you know, like they were all stocked up on horrible, like, you know, stale preconceptions of what Palestinians are, what their lives are like, and what their struggles like.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think there's a deliberate effort to refuse to reckon with that reality, but there's also a deliberate attempt to try to consistently keep up the image that like every Jewish person, no matter what, believes in the state of Israel existing in the ways that it currently does, and there is no room for discourse that definitely exists, especially amongst younger Jews, that will ever be featured in mainstream media, because Americans are broadly like Americans, we understand simple messages, right? When you see a Jewish guy criticize Israel, that means a lot to, I think, Americans who have never been around Jewish people, that only know Jews as like, you know, being in media and doing Seinfeld.
I mean, I think to me, the biggest piece of that angle of it is just on the simple level. Like, I don't think that there is, and I don't really like, I don't think that there is anything like it just should be practically acknowledged on like the surface level that like we live in a world and in like a media environment in which Palestinian voices are so, and like the Palestinian perspective is so marginalized, so diminished, etc., that the most valuable corrective, not valuable in its moral value, not valuable in that it's like the bravest, but just valuable in the sense that it is the most like, you know, like fingers in the eye of the, you know, hegemonic way of talking about this stuff, is to present an anti-Zionist Jew, because it's just like it immediately upsets a bunch of premises, right? And so it doesn't mean that every voice, far from it, or even a majority or even a plurality of voices on this issue should be anti-Zionist Jews. I would never even want to suggest that. But it does mean that when we do not represent those perspectives and we don't represent those views, all it's going to do is exactly what you're saying. It's just going to like create this,
the idea,
the monolith.
create the understanding that, yes, Jews are monolithic in their approach to Israel. And it would have worked, and it did work for, you know, the last like 78 years, but it's just not working anymore. And these guys are still holding out hope that like it'll go away. Like the notion that you can just say simply that something is anti-Semitic and then that stops the conversation in its entirety, that's gone. It doesn't work anymore. I mean, it is also creating an environment for actual anti-Semites to become thought leaders.
Well, it's worth splitting the hairs here.
Anti-Israel movement.
It's worth splitting the hairs here, right? Because it does not work in the sense that like it's not persuading anyone anymore, right? But at the same time, at the exact moment when it has lost all persuasive ability, you know, you've got like just this week, right? Like Haverford College in Pennsylvania, a Quaker college, you know, celebrated for pluralism, you know, social justice politics, things like that. You know, they just did a deal with the Trump administration where they're agreeing to accept that anti-Zionism is a protected belief, like, you know, as a protected class. Or sorry, that Zionism is a protected class, just like being Jewish.
Just like on Twitch.
And so there is now this, I mean, like there's a codification of this reality at the exact time that nobody believes it or is persuaded by it anymore as people.
Yeah.
And so to me, there is this really sad and kind of frustrating thing that we're going to have to live with, and we're going to have to continue talking about this, because even though nobody's persuaded by this, and even though, you know, it's not like a useful, constructive part of discourse anymore, we're going to have to be undoing damaging legislation, punitive policies.
Yeah.
We're going to have to be fighting against powers that be for years and years, generations, really, to like undo the damage of this. In a lot of ways, it is more damaging, I would argue, in terms of the long-term correction that we're going to have to try to do than, you know, what a lot of what went on in the McCarthy era.
Yeah. All right, let's get
Wisconsin
back to
governor's race,
Thanksgiving.
and that is still hanging over it as Francesca Hong, the Democratic Socialist candidate, is still answering questions about that social media post from several years ago about wanting to cancel Thanksgiving. This is what she said about it now.
I had some bad takes and some hot takes on Twitter, but like all everyday Wisconsinites, I had to express my frustrations that the system wasn't working for us.
And there are several examples of things that she has had to walk back, take back, backpedal on, including defunding the police, abolishing the U.S. Senate, and yes, even saying that Halloween should also be canceled. Now, these aren't the major issues driving this governor's race, but voters are talking about them, and many don't like what they heard.
It's ridiculous. I don't know what she was thinking about that.
Now, other supporters of Hong say that she was misunderstood, and it's fine for candidates to change their minds.
Is there any politician on the planet that hasn't made a stance on something and then realized that maybe that was a bit extreme and I have to back up and understand how the voter population is feeling?
It would be a sad person if you just had your ideas at 18 and you kept them all till the day you died. I mean, certainly as you get older and experience more things, see things.
Wisconsinites are my favorite people, by the way. Like everyone I met, I mean, some of these people are, attacking Hong or whatever because they're trying to create a narrative here that like her tweets are really top of mind for these voters. But Wisconsin has some of the best, some of the coolest white people. Let's just say.
I mean, Wisconsin has like a really great, like obviously great radical history, but it is like a very, to me, it's definitely like, it's a state that like when you're in the right crowds or with the right people, like when I've been in Milwaukee or Madison, it feels like one of the most like pro-social places.
Yes.
Like people
100%.
are like, I mean, that's one of the, like a lot of the Midwest does not feel like that, feels the opposite, but I often feel like the coolest moments that I have in the Midwest.
The only other place I felt like that is Minneapolis.
Minneapolis definitely like that,
and like Minnesota's like that. Wisconsin's like that. I think Michigan to a certain degree is like that for sure. Like Illinois, Chicago gets into like real city territory, and I feel like city folk is a little different.
It's a real city, but like I don't know. I love Chicago. You'll never catch. Well, no, but I mean like I feel like it's also like it's a city that has like that does have a bit of that. Like it's got some of that. I don't know. Like
but it leads,
happy to see you. Je ne sais quoi.
It leads me to ask a question: what the fuck happened to like Indiana? What the fuck happened to Iowa and Indiana? If like all these other places are so, a certain way.
It's a good question. I mean, I have no like. I'm sure there's a bunch of actual good answers to that question. I don't have them.
Yeah.
You do take different positions, and you regret some of the stuff you did.
Now, Hong's leading opponent is David Crowley. He's the Milwaukee County executive. He told us this about Thanksgiving.
I love Thanksgiving.
Bro, come on.
Sorry, today in questions we are asking a second grader.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, candidate, your thoughts about Thanksgiving.
I can't do this. Socialist push faces major twist.
Bro. that was so good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then we sit around and wonder why people don't fucking tune into mainstream outlets anymore. And it's like, this is why, dude. You guys don't give a shit about anything. Like, people are ready to start doing illegal things and are doing illegal things to flock cameras. They want to start doing illegal things to data centers. And you guys are out here being like, I wonder why the pro data center candidate is not actually gaining momentum as opposed to the anti-data center candidate who's made it a central fixture of her campaign is doing LeBron numbers.
And you know what I will say? I do think what I find very interesting, right, is that like I think the media is actually kind of lagging behind a lot of some of the other parts of the establishment political base here. Like, I think I see a lot of the people in the think tanks that are attached to the AI industry and attached to a lot of the, sort of foundations that are interested in studying from a pretty industry sympathetic perspective, like how to do build outs that can accommodate the data center stuff. And like, those people are freaking out about this data center backlash, and they're not underestimating what Francesca Hong represents or anything.
Yeah. That's why they're
taking it quite seriously. And I think it is like, it just shows how bad our media is, that they're not even picking up on this, on the gravity that people are associating these campaigns with. They're instead just arguing about Thanksgiving because, again, it is their only way of processing and understanding like what an election is, which is just a relative question of competitiveness. It's not like an evaluation of what like motivates how people engage with an election, what people participating in the election consider the stakes of it to be. It's like literally they're asking some guy, so is the guy who doesn't have a statistical shot at winning this election more electable or not? What do you say, Mr. Voter?
But they did it. They did this with Haley Stevens, and it fucking worked to a certain degree to get her up there. So, you know. I do worry. I do worry a lot.
No, it did to a point. It did to a point, but like it wasn't the only thing. And I also think that like that was a case also where like I think the polls really clearly shaped a lot of the narrative making that was going on there, which is why the Noah Kulwin rule is no polls. Get rid of them.
Francesca Hong's policy positions, the ones that she thinks aren't a good or a bad take, we don't know. The Wall Street Journal's lead editorial today, though, Francesca Hong, the socialist next hope. It argues even a fraction of her agenda would be ruinous. That's what the GOP's presumptive gubernatorial nominee, Representative Tom Tiffany, is saying. And that's what he'll tell voters if their other option is in November, and it's Ms. Hong. And he would be correct about that. What an opening for Republicans after 2 terms of Governor Tony Evers. Power panel now. Cassie Smedley, Republican strategist. Megan Hayes, former director of message planning for the Biden administration. Great to see.
It's so 2 anti-Hong politicians.
I mean, but this is fine, bro. I mean, I'm not. The other people, I'll like get a little more head up over, but like this is a little like, yeah, water be wet, dude. It's Fox News. They're not going to have on.
Yeah, Fox News quoting another Murdoch-owned outlet, Wall Street Journal, to fucking complain about radical socialist Francesca Hong. They always sneak your name in all these segments, of course, because that's like, because look, whether Francesca Hong wins or not, like, of course they would love to make her lose in the primary so they don't have to deal with it in the general. But I'm not going away. So that's the reason why they have to keep peppering these attacks in every conversation they can, because this movement is not going away. And this movement, they understand something that many others, unfortunately, in the edges, in the liberal side,
also,
that are
like, they're just mad that she's good at speaking to the people that want to support her. Sorry, that's like a lot of the, like, what I get irritated with about the Hong stuff is that it's like, I mean, one, I do think, I agree with my friend Jay Kang. I do think a lot of it is frankly racist. And just like, that's like all the faculty lounge stuff is like, I with her specifically, I find to have an edge that I don't love, because it's like, like, why are they racing to assume that this candidate is a books person, but not a service industry person? I think we know the answer there. Yeah. But it is also like, they're just completely discounting from the jump, like what it is that people do see in her that is not tied to the environmental, component, the structural components of this. Right. And it is like, like, why do they view her as like a credible avatar for a bunch of these ideas? And that matters. And they're just not considering it at all.
I just don't understand why these guys also do the same thing that they do to China, where it's like, even if you hate China, it's probably important for you to understand like what the fuck's going on there. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's going to catch you by surprise, as it kind of has. Like, China's rise as a global behemoth has like caught many Western analysts by surprise. Many of those who like wrote extensive foreign policy mag articles about how like they were building ghost cities and shit like that are now going, how do we get here? Why do they have so many tier 1 cities that are like, massive?
Well, yeah, they believed that we just believed that they would always be better at quantity, but never at quality. And
but I don't get
shocker,
it. Shocker,
that wasn't going to last.
At this point, even if your goal is to defeat China somehow in this war that we're waging against them, then like you should probably try to do a better job of like understanding what their ideology is, what motivates them, how they operate, rather than just like consistently hit the same notes over and over again. Not dissimilar to the argument that I was presenting with the anti-Zionist movement growing, and like how Zionists are still deploying the same techniques of like not trying to understand where people are coming from and assuming that the animus driving this counter narrative against Israel is, of course, by
it's an incredibly, it's because they're like, what these people share in common, right? Like anti-Zionists or China hawk, or sorry, not anti-Zionists. If we can make that mistake lately, Zionists and China hawks is that they're both like hardcore idealists. Like they believe in like they have like these idealized notions and they act according to those notions, and they don't really give a fuck about empirical reality. They don't really have like much of a connection to it, frankly. And, you know, like that satisfies their needs. You know, it allows for, you know, you can stockpile missiles all you want. You can spend money on, you know, new submarines that are meant to counter hypothetical Chinese actions 50 years out or whatever. Like you can do all that stuff. You can invest in those things and not invest in other things. And so you give yourself, I mean, it's idealism like of that kind is a kind of alibi. It becomes the way that you understand doing that you do certain things so that you know, you can get away with, I mean, is the way you and I think see it, is that they can get away with self-enrichment and self-dealing, and they can acquire more power, all the while telling themselves that, you know, they're doing something else.
Yeah.
You know, Cassie, I'm going to start with you because you've got Tiffany about ready to take the stage. You've got former Governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, going to talk with him. Tee up this race for us.
Yeah, good morning to you both. I just got off the plane from northern Wisconsin. I spent the weekend with my in-laws up in Chippewa Falls, which is the northwest side of the state bordering with Minnesota. And this is all you heard about this weekend. Francesca Hong was essentially on an apology tour, trying to spend the final days of this primary to reset the record for herself from these problematic positions she's taken about canceling Thanksgiving, abolishing the Senate, abolishing the police, etc. And then you had Tom Tiffany, who was essentially on offense, running his campaign, talking about I-94 expansion, talking about higher ed, talking about...
Interesting. Why is the Republican candidate so invested in the Democratic primary? And why is the Republican candidate attacking the quote unquote weaker candidate for the general? That's interesting. This is the Republican strategist who is attacking Francesca Hong and saying that the supposedly weaker general candidate, Francesca Hong, is interestingly enough, all of the enmity is directed at the supposedly weaker general election candidate. If Republican strategists thought that Francesca Hong was easier to beat, they would probably be hyping her up, right?
Well, but this gets to the fact that there are obviously certain advantages that like a more centrist inclined candidate will have in a general election. It's just a fact. There are certain advantages that they get, right? But like there's certain disadvantages that come through people getting through a primary process without having, you know, motivated voters, without having like a particularly credible or, you know, like defensible, legible platform. You know, there's a bunch of reasons that have more to do with, again, than just like a kind of like rank left to right ideology thing that have to do with this. And again, the biggest part of this is like, okay, who is going to be better positioned to win on the issues that seem to matter most to people who are at the ballot box in a few months? And it's like Francesca Hong, it turns out, despite of all of the quote unquote concerns about her or whatever, like she's making it through this primary process because she is able to, at least for now, present more competitively on that level. And yeah, obviously, like if the Republicans really believed all this shit, then why would they be like, why, if they really believe that she was so why would they say this? I think the other thing I will say is like, you know, when it comes to this stuff of like, the Republicans would freaking love to run against this, you know, Democratic Socialist. Like, okay, I remember the Jonathan Chait and Ira Tandon. We would love to run against Donald Trump in 2016. If only we could run against Donald Trump in 2016 stuff. Okay. Just from all perspective, from all sides, like, just don't say that stuff. Like I'm saying, even to my allies, like, don't say that stuff. You will get your ass, like, you will get exposed for it at some point. The point will not work out for you. It's in some way. Like, electability is just so often, right? Like, just make the argument on the merits of your candidate and why you think they're a good fit. Like this stuff of like trying to pick the perfect opponent is not always going to work for you. It won't. Like, you know, I still think in some ways, like, we've never gotten the full explanation right of AIPAC and the NJ11 and trying to go against Malinowski. Like, that's still not clear. Like, it just doesn't seem that, like, when you play these games that you necessarily end up getting what you want.
Yeah.
The economy and making sure that Wisconsinites have the opportunity to live the lives they want to live for them and their families. A real contrast, and certainly for Francesca Hong, not how you want to be spending these final days. And oh, by the way, as Alex laid out, the sitting governor is campaigning with the guy who got out of the race. He dropped out already, and he's no, we need you back in because I don't believe this lady is electable in November. It's a real quagmire for Democrats.
Well, I know we keep talking about Thanksgiving, but the real headline from last week was her quote-unquote proximity to whiteness. She made it all about race, using her own biracial children. All right, Francesca Hung has not gotten endorsements from some of the socialist big guns like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who seems to be trying to distance herself a bit.
I haven't endorsed in that race. My focus has been in winning back the Congress. My understanding is that Francesca Hong has made clear her present stances to her electorate.
Yeah, she's moved away from a lot
right,
of that.
she's moved away from it. And I have a local city councilman that has this saying, woke one was crazy.
Woke one was crazy. So we're in chapter 2 now. It sounds crazy too. AOC has, however, endorsed socialist Senate candidate in Michigan, Abdul El Sayed, whose policies exactly align with those of Francesca Hong. Here's Hong with Hasan Piker. Take a watch.
Abolishing ICE.
Yes.
A 1-year data center moratorium.
Yes.
Breaking up Big Ag.
Yes.
Public grocery stores.
Yes.
Right to I love when they show this because this is banger. This is like
this is like you're now asking her to like give yes to all the stuff that polls get.
Yeah.
Showing it like
no, literally. I don't know why they don't realize that. It's so strange because like I guess they're so hugbox that they genuinely think that this actually is the reason why she's popular. And it turns into a fucking free ad. Even for some of the Fox News watchers.
Oh no, they
hate the data centers. They hate Big Ag. They want to right to
one of the
repair.
scariest days for Fox News was the Bernie town hall years ago. Like when the crowd pop that Bernie was getting at a Fox News event.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. Like the Fox people have to be very careful about how they package this stuff. And sometimes they fuck up. Like I think this is
a fuck up.
Clipping this is a fuck up, I think.
Pair.
Yes.
Legalizing cannabis.
Yes.
Overturning Citizens United.
Yes.
A workers' bill of rights.
Yes.
A free Palestine.
Yes.
So that anti-American streamer that you just saw, Hasan Piker, who's by everybody's side right now on the far left,
it's not funny.
That is mad funny.
It's not funny.
It's really funny.
She's clocking my shit.
Anti-American streamer that you just saw, Hasan Piker, who's by everybody's side right now.
Dude, I
on the
love
far,
this.
far
The way
left,
that they got the scroll going, like it's a now that's what I call music. Like some of your favorite pop hits.
Yeah, tax millionaires and billionaires more. Close corporate tax loopholes. Like half of this shit is like what Trump lied
No
about.
Scrubs by
half
TLC.
of this shit is literally what Trump lied about doing, including closed corporate tax loopholes or the carried interest loopholes.
This is
the litmus
great.
test for what it takes to run as a Democrat socialist, apparently, and she's taken that test.
Like
She's got
strengthen antitrust enforcement. Why are they posting this?
time for a
Regulate artificial intelligence.
Awesome. Protect workers from harmful uses of AI.
And yes, there's a lot more. A lot more. They share all these radical left policy positions. This is pretty unbelievable. Megan, we have gone a distance.
The peaceful
I'm sorry.
protest.
I think this actually might be okay, I almost don't want to say this because I think I may.
They're hyping her up.
No. I don't want to say this because I don't want to risk exposing our undercover king. But I actually think that this is the work of somebody who works at Fox News who understands exactly what they are doing. You know what I mean?
We were even a few weeks ago. Your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, again, she's not a Democrat. She should not be winning the primary. She shouldn't be.
You think Sorry, that one is awesome. Saving the one for last that every Fox News person is just like, if they saw that, they like.
No, there's no way. I don't think they see it. I don't think they are looking at the you're right. I think there's a producer that's just like, I'm going to put this in here. Let's see how far we can go with this.
We see you.
King.
Keep it up.
There's a king that's working.
Winning the primary, she shouldn't be running on the Democratic ticket, and I would hope that the other her opponent actually does win. And we saw last week in Michigan that polls don't always tell a complete story.
Excuse me, Megan, but if she's not a Democrat socialist, what is she? If she's not a Democrat, I mean, and by the way, Bernie Sanders was an independent since 1990, and he ran for the Democrat nomination.
My favorite is they're so used to saying Democrat instead of Democratic that they say Democrat socialist.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah, no, they always say these are Democrat socialists. It's my favorite.
This is like one of these things too, where it's like how like Trump just like completely like controls their brain now. Like they all have to talk, like
the little Trumpisms, little quirky ways of
caucus
speaking.
with Democrats. So what is your
The Democratic Party
description
should not allow
of
that.
Francesca Hong? Is she not part of your party?
She absolutely is not part of our party. Democrats are
I have some news for you. I have some news for you, lady.
It's just such a sad state of affairs.
You're gonna want to sit down for this.
It's a sad state of affairs for a lot of these Democratic consultants that like we are literally more the party than she is. And I think that's at the end of the day, that's what the problem is. Cause like she represents fucking Aetna and Blue Cross Blue Shield, where we represent the actual fucking voters. So much so that in spite of the barrage of money that they dump into these races, the voters still actually overcome all of those smears and still go and vote for the insurgent left candidates.
I mean, like these things come and go the other way, etc. What I just find I can easily imagine a world in which, again, these tables turn. Our side may have less sway within the Democratic Party at some point. It's, these big wheel keep on turning, whatever. The thing is like, I can't understand the hubris here. Like to say, like, could you imagine any left winger right in this moment saying, like, seriously, like you're saying, like the party represents her less. You're not saying, oh, you're not in the party. You're not part of this. Like, there's not like a there's a recognition that you.
I do say that for people who actually lend their support to the Republicans.
Well, that's supporting Mike Ross. I think that's a bit of a
Mike LaRosa.
That makes it
like that. Mike LaRosa, fucking
the guy who fucking like was essentially pushed out of his job in Biden world for being. There's a daily Google Michael was it LaRosa.
LaRosa. I
Michael
LaRosa too, but it's
Michael
LaRosa.
LaRosa. Daily Mail. There's a story that has the details on what went down with him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was illegal to fuck.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's illegal to be cool.
Yeah,
it's illegal to be a cool guy on a work trip and bringing back people that I want to hook up with to the
Secret Service,
to a Secret Service protected floor where members of the first family is staying. Ooh,
yeah,
that's a problem now.
I didn't realize.
And now I work for Ballard Partners, which literally has contracts to represent Libyan warlords and
the Trump administration. I think, right?
Well, you don't lobby. You can't represent the Trump administration, but I think he's representing the UAE or Saudi.
Oh,
I forget which, but you get the idea. No, but like the like I don't think the point is that like I just don't think
representing the Trump administration.
Like I don't know a single like DSA person who just like doesn't subscribe to like the reality principle that these people are clearly rejecting.
Yeah.
Live in a free market society. Nobody in the Democratic Party with
so
any
El
sense
Sayed
believes
is not in your party either.
No, El Sayed actually doesn't associate with being a socialist. He has some far left policies, but he actually does say he's a capitalist. So that is a Democratic stance. So there's a little bit of a difference here. But I do think if Hong does win the nomination, we have a better chance of winning the governor's race in Texas than we do in Wisconsin.
Well, I'm confused about why you think El Sayed is a capitalist. I mean, he's got some of the same policies that Mom, because he
what'd
said
she say?
Well,
because he said it.
Oh, because he said it.
She says she loves Thanksgiving, but she's also anti-American.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Can you trust these brown people, these non-whites, and the things that they say about Thanksgiving, and also whether they're a socialist or not?
Come on.
Can you even trust them, really?
Bro, I'm so tired. Like, we're going to be hearing about this Thanksgiving shit for forever. And it's not for just, I want to be clear. Like, this is so not her fault. Like, she did, like, vindicated. Like, she's doing fine. I feel
she's
so.
about to make me say cancel Thanksgiving.
I mean, seriously, dude. Now, like, my any feelings of like oppositional defiance that I have are just like kicking in. I just want to be like we are doing like. At this point, I want people like...
You know how like with Zoran, they wouldn't invite him to the 9/11 memorial, or they're trying to get him to
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, Wisconsin is holding a Thanksgiving turkey dinner, and Francesca Hong is not invited.
They're gonna do something even dumber, where it's like, we asked for Thanksgiving turkeys, and they don't want Francesca Hong at their dinners. Like, that's I'm calling my shot on that one. Somebody's gonna do a version of that.
Yeah.
Love it. I mean, when does it count when you say it? It doesn't make it true. You got to show us through your policies. And he's aligned with Mom Donnie, which is all day long taking from the rich to spend on whatever he wants to spend it on, whether it helps the people or not. At least that's what it looks like if you live in New York right now. Cassie?
Well, but I think this gets to a larger point. What Megan is saying, if they're not Democrats, and if the majority of Democrat voters are saying, I don't identify with these far left candidates, then the problem for not just DSA, but for Democrats is winning in November. What do? You've allowed your party to be totally co-opted by these people to run on your ticket, and you're not giving people an option because the Democrat Party nationally and writ large, in these state parties as well, was asleep at the wheel, didn't take them seriously. Mandami was an outlier. Colorado was an outlier. Al Sayed is an outlier. Now is Francesca Hong an outlier? This is the National Democrat Party this cycle. And so either they're going to win with a bunch of Democrat socialists and have to embrace them, or the Democrats are about to find themselves completely obsolete and completely taken over, and will they ever win a local, state, or national election ever again? It's a big issue.
Well, some headlines today are blaring the alarm over the rise of socialism in America. Viva la DSA for Democrat Socialists of America. Revolution abolishing the Senate and presidency are only a few things on this list. Another socialism is here, and it is serious. As religion recedes, politics takes its place. One tenet of socialism, massive taxes on Americans, its leaders deemed wealthy. And one would think the co-chair of the Democrat Socialists of America would understand the assignment.
Pretty funny.
Watch this.
We do believe in taxing the hell out of millionaires. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what does taxing the hell out of them mean?
Yeah, you know, I don't have like
I'll
a
be right
solid,
back.
but I think.
But shouldn't you?
I
mean, if you're the co-chair, of the DSA, shouldn't you be more specific than just taxing the hell out of something?
I'm gonna keep it $1.50. David Remnick cooked her a little bit on this one. This is the only time where I will say this was a little bit of a we gotta. You know, Megan's great. I love her. I respect her. I think she's done a lot of great work. I just, you know, I wish she had an answer on the spot with that one.
What exactly do you mean?
So yeah, we need to look at what we need to pay for in the interim, what sort of tax base we need for that to happen, and then and build from there.
So Megan, we have to take.
Because here's the thing. This is not a friendly conversation. If you're DSA, none of these conversations that are taking place are friendly. You have to treat it like a hostile media interview, no matter what, even if they are being friendly. And David is friendly, broadly speaking, but he's doing that on purpose. He's doing that to create a false sense of security so we can get clips off like that. For sure. There's got to be pre-cogged, pre-canned responses for all of it.
Their word for it. We have to believe what they say, according to you, but can you even make sense of that?
No, absolutely not. Again, these people are not Democrats. They should not be allowed to run on a Democratic ticket. And I agree with Cassie that the National Party should have stepped in long ago.
What are you saying? Like, does more than half of the fucking voter base, is the plurality or the majority of the voter base? Like, what are you talking about? Who's we? How many votes have you won? Who the fuck is we? What elected position are you in? How many Democratic voters have voted for you or your platform? Because we can look at the numbers. It's the voters that are making these decisions. It's the Democratic voters that are making these decisions, and they like these candidates. That's why they're voting for them. It's very strange.
go, but we're in this situation and we have to figure out what we're going to do now. But again, these people have extreme policies that do not make sense. The governor is a different animal than, of course, people running for Senate. It's much harder to make laws when you are one of a body of 100 in the Senate, like El Sayed. But the problem here is that she's running against
That's
someone.
why you all
so
are
election
arguing.
denier
I want to give
explained
Cassie the last 10 seconds before we have to go. Thank you, Megan. Cassie?
Listen, I don't envy Megan's position. I don't envy pragmatic Democrat voters' positions. But on the Republican side, there's an opportunity here that history tells us we should not have right now. And I hope that all of our candidates, I think we are, Tom Tiffany being a great example of one.
Oh, is it because your president sucks dog shit? Like it's his only source of substance? Why is it? Why does history show? Why does history show that the Republicans shouldn't have an opportunity here? Did I say substance? Sustenance. I apologize. I'm eating. How much longer until they start yelling at voters? This is a way to yell at the voters. Yelling at me is a way to yell at the voters.
Who's taking the issues head on, meeting with the voters, and not having to deal. And we would welcome the opportunity to debate the people like Francesca Hong and put these issues on a November ballot so that they can be settled once and for all.
That would be spicy if it happens that way. We'll be watching that primary tomorrow in Wisconsin. Thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full. The big dim stars are out. Democrat heavyweights rallying behind far-left Senate nominee Abdul El Sayed after he won the Michigan primary last week. And he was campaigning and going around with a guy who's got that toxic stream. Even so, El Sayed now is scrambling to distance himself from his friend, influencer Hasan Piker, who, among other toxic things, has said America deserved 9/11. El Sayed said he spoke with former President Obama after his Michigan primary victory. He said it was a really warm and inspiring conversation. The night before his victory, El Sayed was hanging out with Piker at the pool. Watch El Sayed play dodgeball here.
Do you plan to continue to campaign with Hasan Piker in the general election campaign?
Look, I'm less concerned now with who I'm campaigning with, a lot more concerned about who I'm campaigning to.
Do you disavow those comments that America deserved 9/11?
Of course. Of course, it was a dumb statement. And of course, I think Hasan himself would say that was a dumb statement. He disavowed it. So yes, America didn't deserve 9/11.
Saying something is dumb does not even elevate your disavowing it to where it should be. It was cruel. It was thoughtless. And it could have been true. We still don't know.
Wait, what did they want him to do? Kill me? Yeah, clutch your pearls harder, Fox News. It's so funny because it's exactly the type of the kind of statement that I would expect Trump to make, and then Fox News to defend endlessly. Yeah, now that he disavowed the statement, they're like, he didn't disavow it hard enough. First, they say he didn't disavow it. Then they're saying he disavowed it, but not hard enough.
Senator John Fetterman thinks El Sayed's ties to Piker and his anti-Israel stance could cost his party a must-hold Michigan Senate seat. Watch.
I dare you to continue to campaign with people like Hasan Piker, because he now will quickly find out it's easy to campaign in the echo chamber as a Democrat, but when you have to convince other people or people that are open to voting on either side, I think you're going to be interesting to see how he chooses to disavow or now pretend that he hasn't just said and done these things just through this entire campaign.
And as Fetterman says, just pretend.
Why was he wearing a suit? Was it
backing
Netanyahu in town?
El
saying,
Sayed, Pete
I dare you to
Buttigieg,
campaign with
Gavin
Hasan Piker.
Newsom, AOC, Kamala Harris. Now, notice their names are being thrown into the pile for, well, they might run for president next time. So, of course, they have to cozy up to the guy who just won Michigan. Veteran strategist, or the primary there, veteran strategist James Carville, you'll notice is not on that list.
I think that the progressive left, they're very tech people. I think they've come up with an AI random stupid idea generator. And I think the stupid idea generator can think of things that humans can't, like canceling Thanksgiving or being against interracial dating. So I'm just waiting to the next stupid idea AI generator that comes out, spits out of that.
In focus with me now, Ben Ferguson, podcast host. Just want to get your top line thoughts.
Wait, what?
Yeah, look, I think what you're witnessing right now is the Democrats have created a mad laboratory for Marxism, and these are the candidates that are coming out of it, and these are the ideas that are coming out of it, and the test ground for this is the battleground states in places like Michigan and Wisconsin. But let's also be very clear. This all started back when Barack Obama was president. He bottle-fed these ideas. He bottle-fed these types of candidates. He created them and brought them into the tent. And when you have these now radical Marxists and communists and socialists who have taken over the Democratic Party, this was not an accident. This is where the Democratic Party has been going for a long time. When you have people that say that America deserved 9/11, that is not an accident. They believe it. When the Democratic Socialists of America say last week in an interview, they believe that Israel doesn't have a right to exist from the river to the sea.
I don't know if I can hear this
Hamas
guy.
and Hezbollah chant and what they say. This is now the Democratic Party. They created this, and they're endorsing it. They're advocating for it, and most importantly, Harris, they're now funding it with.
The DSA's national platform has declared Estonia has no right to exist. Notice how that doesn't do anything for you. Maybe it does. I don't know. Maybe you have a special place in your heart for Estonia. But it's like so funny that these guys are just like, oh, I can't believe that's a DSA position.
Yeah, but again, this is I don't know, man.
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, it's why is there like a video game we could be talking about? I mean, like, literally anything would be more
millions and millions and millions of dollars.
You know, just moments ago, it was announced, and maybe it came out earlier, but now it's official that former President Barack Obama is going to have a new podcast. It's basically taking people through books that they don't have time to read, simultaneously with getting back out there. We know
I saw this list of Obama books. And some of them I don't care about. Some of them I don't care about. A couple of books I do care about are on there. Specifically, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy by John le Carre. And everybody should read that book. Everybody has time to read that book. Everybody has time to read books. That was an incredibly condescending remark of hers. Everybody should read books. Thank you. Just, that annoyed me.
Nerd.
Like, why did reading catch a stray there? She was yelling at you. Stay yelling at Hasan. Why does reading?
What do you mean? She's speaking to her base. Well, they're illiterate.
That is fair.
90% of commentary on this fucking dog shit ass platform is literally talking about how if you're learned, you're woke and gay, and you should kill yourself.
That is true, and people kind of forget that, like, that for a long time. I mean, now, like, this is part of what the culture war stuff obfuscates, because, like, you can launder being, like, stupid and hating learning through, like, resisting experts and questioning authority. Yeah. And, you know, like, hating going to the doctor is now, like, medical skepticism. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, no, you're just a lazy piece of shit and you didn't grow up. Anyway, I think of...
It's messed up that you said that. It's called... Yeah, it's called realistic vaccine scrutiny.
Well, I assume you also. I don't know. Did you talk about the vaccine news earlier?
The child vaccine.
Yeah, that bummed me out. Yeah, that bummed me out, man.
No, we just heard him deliver a speech after he J.D. Pondon struck once again to eradicate to continue his war, permanent first world genocide.
It's also this thing of, like, there's no, like, truly with this stuff, I do not understand it's for. I'll be honest. Like, I understood the, like, humoring the RFK Jr. stuff when you were running for office because of what he thought it gave him and everything. I just don't like.
No, he doesn't have anything.
Like
No,
who's
that's why.
the fucking? So it's just you're doing it for lack of doing
no,
anything else.
You don't have anything. So you.
I mean,
have
great.
to-
Okay, sorry. That also said Trump does. He's never said it publicly because he's too pussy, perhaps. But like, there is clearly a like thing with Trump about vaccines and autism because of like
No,
the
he
link
has said it.
because of the link between old guy's sperm and whatever. Like he's got that same anxiety that other old men with young children have about vaccines and autism.
Yeah, he has said it. It's because he thinks that in the past he tweeted out that like you got to space the vaccines out. So technically, the policy that he signed into law, he has actually advocated for. I do think it's funny though that's like. I think he genuinely cares about that, but also more importantly than that, he's just like he knows his base is hemorrhaging, so he's trying to hold on to whatever he can. And this is probably one of the easiest ones to
Was how
get a
El
bone in.
Sayed put it together over the weekend after El Sayed's win. What do you make of Obama in all of this? Does it matter? Does his endorsement matter?
Look, I think Obama's endorsement matters, and I think putting out there, quote, we had a warm conversation, tells you, wink, wink, nod, nod, I'm absolutely behind this guy. And
Why would it matter? Isn't he a Muslim commie? I thought he sucked. It's just strange. This guy who sucks, his endorsement matters for the other guy who sucks?
Well,
it's also telling the rest of the party, you better get in line. You have one thing that's also happening while we're seeing and witnessing the growth of this extremism, and that is the former leadership of the Democratic Party, the Chuck Schumers, they are paralyzed because they don't know what to do to stop this. And they realize no one's listening to them anymore. Barack Obama is pushing it this way. The Democrats fall in line. They're looking, by the way, at 2028. Let's be clear. This is a mad scientist laboratory for who they're going to put out there in 2028. If I made a prediction today,
pause.
it is AOC.
This is a I love these people, dude. Like they commit new like crimes against.
They're illiterate.
Like this is a mad scientist laboratory.
They're illiterate.
A mad scientist. What the fuck does that mean? It's a mad. It's a mad. Hasan. It's a mad scientist laboratory.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know what you don't understand.
No, Hasan.
It's not Dexter. It's a mad
Hasan.
scientist.
You don't understand. It's a mad scientist laboratory.
Yeah, they're making mad scientists in the laboratory.
I hate this, man.
Where do you think they make the mad scientists?
In a
In a laboratory. Where they work on mad scientists, like in the invention of new mad scientists.
It is Chuck Schumer hoping she gets a nomination so maybe he can stay in charge as a figurehead for a little bit longer. Otherwise, she's probably going to primary Chuck Schumer. She says, oh, I'm just looking at Congress right now. No, she's not. The Democratic Socialists of America are saying we're coming for the entire country. We are winning and winning often now with the.
Again, shouldn't you be excited at this? Because they suck, right?
Well, yeah, this is their. I mean, well, this is like, I mean, admittedly, this is like an age-old, like, reactionary, like, anxiety, right? Which is that, like, they're powerless, they're feckless, they can't deliver possibly on any of these, like, ridiculous dreams they have, but also they're a direct threat to our way of life, and our tolerance of them is a sign of weakness that we must suppress at all turns because we have to exterminate them.
But I don't understand, because it doesn't seem like they're it doesn't seem like they're confident they could defeat the socialists. Kind of feels like they're worried.
These types of candidates and ideas. And the message is also clear. We hate America. We think it's fundamentally flawed. We want to destroy what it is now. We hate Jews, by the way. You're not welcome either. We also believe America deserved 9/11. This is who they are. When they tell you this, believe them.
Look, you mentioned AOC. It's interesting because part of the far, far left, those Democrat socialists, they want to get, not part of it, part of their platform and the DSA platform is to get rid of the U.S. presidency. So what are you running for?
Yes.
I mean, it just sounds like a bunch of made up stuff. El Sayed, by the way, if you're keeping score, is sticking to his support for government-run socialized health care. Watch this.
Yeah, we don't have to live like this. We have an opportunity to guarantee cradle-to-grave health care.
Would you need to increase taxes?
As I've said across this campaign, I am for taxing billionaires their wealth.
You are effectively acknowledging that people making less than $1 million could see their taxes go up. I just want to be very clear. Is that a yes?
Damn it, I hate them so
I'm saying
much.
that we'd be paying for health care in a different way.
Less than $1 million, that number that a lot of people make a year.
But also, All she's doing is soundbite mining because he describes how.
No, it's about they just want to fish for the answer of like, will you raise taxes on the middle class?
Yeah,
like that's
so
what they
can,
want.
So they can hit like so they can hit that in attack ads. Like she's trying to farm an attack ad clip moment.
I mean,
and it's
I think
really fucking annoying.
Well,
because,
it's listen, man. It's
like,
only
it's clear
it's
you
only
pay
no,
less.
it's only Meet the Press. You know, the marquee interview program in NBC.
Yeah.
It's important that we not ask questions about the budget implications of something. It's important that we frame it like this incredibly.
No, this is after I listened to the interview. He very clearly describes that you pay so much in premiums right now, and all
this is actually just the farming clip because she did the substantive part, and now they're
she goes,
okay, that's
brought
even
up,
worse.
You've brought up the
that's
fact
shameless,
that
dude. That's even worse.
She literally goes, okay. She goes, okay. You're saying that your statement at the end of it, like your what is this?
I thought Abdul's campaign promise was more money in your pocket. This sounds a lot more. This sounds like a lot like
more money
sounds
for
a
the
lot
government.
like
I know
more
it's
money
complicated
for
for you,
the
Habibi.
government.
I'm happy to teach you how this works at our next debate if you're not too much of a coward to debate. Damn, 50K likes. Dude, his whole like Taylor Swift dancing, like everything that he does that I think is like cornball shit, I think plays so well for like the millennial moms and stuff.
What? Which part?
Him dancing to Taylor Swift, doing the Blues Clues shit, like even his like Roger.
I mean, look, like I think people underestimate the degree to which like charisma is like just not like a it's a thing that like not everybody has it. Sometimes it hits you and like because like look like right like if I'm Mallory McMorrow, I'm pissed because like I did the dancing ad and everybody made fun of me, and Abdul El Sayed dances and everybody likes him. And you could say that like there's probably something that's fair to be said about like men and women and representations of them in media and misogyny, sure. But I think we have to, if we're being honest, right? Like we know that it's because like Abdul Sayed, he's a charismatic guy. He kind of exudes it. It's natural for him. It doesn't look forced. He like sells it. And not everybody sells it. And that's okay. There are people on the other side of the aisle who unbelievably, like, in fact, there's some people like our president who in the act of how little he tries to sell anything is like his own kind of authenticity that people relate to. That's a kind of charisma too. And that's not taught. So it's like, to me, that's part of the like Abdul magic in that situation, or like that piece of it, right? Is that like, it's not just that like he's corny or whatever. It's that like,
it's the hello human resources.
Yeah, exactly. There is just some guys like, people are happy to talk to him.
Yeah. Well, Haley Stevens was that charismatic, but the voters made the wrong decision because they're stupid.
I see Israel in my dreams.
He doesn't know the answer to that question.
Israel,
I mean, come on.
to me in my dreams.
Yeah.
Glad we're on the
Slogans
same page
sound great,
there.
but we know nothing is really free. And also, even if you tax the blank out of the billionaires, like that one far left socialist said, it's still not going to be enough to cover this. Government-run socialized health care would mean a massive new tax burden on just about everybody. Estimates put the increase from $1.5 trillion to more than $4 trillion, taking the middle ground of those estimates equates to roughly 15 to 21,000 per tax return every year. Nationalized health care would also reduce employer contributions.
They're so nasty. One, the concept of a moral hazard is never mentioned. She didn't even bring up moral hazard because that's like old school republicanism, but the concept of a moral hazard is never mentioned when it comes to unlimited corporate welfare. And two, on that same exact same wavelength, they never talk about how many billions we are fucking burning to fight Israel's war against Iran.
Well, this is though where it's like, I think in this case too, it's like, do I trust the Mercatus and Paragon Institute? I know what Mercatus is. I don't know what the Paragon Institute is. And their presentation of this, like, no, I don't especially do. And also like, do these expenditures create savings elsewhere that are not accounted for in these particular estimates? Like, I don't, like I trust the estimates that come from the people with whom I'm ideologically sympathetic. Sue me. They typically bear out on the evidence more because that's why I share that disposition. Anyway, point being as well, like, I think that there is just like you're never going to get like a particularly, it's Fox News, man. You ever see Chinatown? Have you seen that movie?
No.
There's a line in it, forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown. Forget it, Hasan, it's Fox News.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And take away choices for family. Remember that stuff that Obama's camp used to say, you can keep your doctor. No, you can't. You absolutely can't, because you can't afford for everybody to keep their doctor under their plan.
Why?
Yeah, this is the largest tax increase we've ever seen in the history of this country that's being proposed now by these socialists. But this is about control. And if you can then take away everything,
the populist counter to this is so easy. And it also automatically makes them look like weirdly technocratic and therefore on the losing side of this argument. You're like, we're burning $1 billion a day.
Yeah, no, that one is simple because it is just like, if you believe that money is this, that like our resources are that finite in this, then it's like, why are we, why is the strait closed?
Yeah, we're burning.
Why is straight close?
We're burning $1 billion a day. Shut the fuck up. We have enough money for healthcare. You just want to make sure that it reroutes back to, corporate pockets. Which is, there is truth to that as well. So like the cost saving that the average American will face, instead of paying sky high premiums, they'll be paying a little bit of it as a, let's say, national insurance.
Well, also there's just access that will expand, both on the level of there are people who, if they're not uninsured, they're insured like I am.
And it's cheaper
with policies that are
it's cheaper overall.
The admin costs are way more efficient. I mean, there's no, I don't know. There's
but that's the problem.
Yeah,
GDP fucking diminishes.
Well, but this is there's a joke about two economists, and it's like, what? Do you know the one?
Everyone always makes fun of me for using that joke.
It's a good joke.
That's why look at chat.
It's a good joke.
Look, they're all going, we all know it. The Hasan classic. Two economists walk into the woods. There's a piece of dog shit on the ground. First one says, hey, if you eat that, I'll give you $100. They keep walking. Second economist sees a piece of dog shit, says, hey, if you eat that dog shit, I'll give you $100. Second economist says, sure. Eats it, gives the $100 back. They keep walking. They go, why do we do this? The economist says,
hey, don't feel so bad.
We just increased the GDP by $200. $200 of economic activity, baby.
No, it's a great joke. I love it.
Yeah. End joke.
Same party, let's be clear, that says if you've got a really nice house, we don't think you should be able to have it. New York is dealing with this right now. Yep. If you have a lot of money, we want to take not some of it, Harris, we want to take all of it from you. And we want to take your doctor from you. We want to take your plan from you. We want to take private health care away. You are going to live under our Marxist rule. This is Marxism. It is he.
It's so funny. Because the pied-à-terre tax is for like $5 million and above, I think, right?
Yeah, it's like I don't know what to.
I know it's New York City, but
he's just bugging. I don't know what to say. Like what do you? And also it's also the pied-à-terre thing. Like I'll say this. One of the things about I think Kathy Hochul is one of the better political weather vanes in the country right now. If you want to see where somebody thinks the wind is blowing in the Democratic Party, look at what she's doing. And I'm not saying that she's earnestly convicted on a bunch of stuff, but she pays attention to what's going on, and she's made to because of Zoran's success in her state. And so one of the ones that I point to on this is how she's approached the pied-à-terre tax, which is the fact that the mechanism by which they've gone about revealing how, all the pied-à-terre and everything, and evaluating it, they're also digging up all these people who
are tax cheats.
And so there is there's no world in which a politician who breathes oxygen, you know what I mean, is gonna fucking like run away from the ability to like go at like fat cat tax cheats where like the proof is in the pudding there.
Yeah.
And it's not like
I love that was
it's
my
not-
favorite. That was my favorite revelation of people being like, wait a minute, I live in New York, and it's like, okay, so you're just not paying New York
and
residency
it's not
tax.
like it's not a concern of industry as much, right? Like you're not going to get like industry lobbyists like pouring in and so on. Like it's a much like
No,
there are
just-
reasons that it's like a political issue that somebody like her can get her arms around more than others is
Yeah,
what I
you're
mean
just pissing
there.
off like what's his name, Scott Galloway,
Yeah, you're not angry.
Who-
You're not like taking on like all the landlords, for an example.
who I personally don't like. So I'm glad that he's getting.
Well, he's just mad because his whole thing now is that he's a guy who tells people like pay attention to young men. Like young men need role models.
Yeah, and now young men are saying the one. He's also another one of those guys who's like weirdly very invested in Israel. So he hates.
I don't. 10 years ago, Scott Galloway was an NYU business school professor of marketing who accurately predicted that Amazon would buy Whole Foods, and then like his media profile blew up. And now I read about like what he thinks about like the crisis of masculinity is. I'm just saying, it doesn't need to be that way.
Yeah, but
Doesn't need to be
the
that
problem. The problem is like he's Mr. Young masculinity, but all the
Yeah, but
young
what-
masculine men fucking hate Israel, and he's talked about how the reason why these campuses are like doing. Remember what he said? What he said, they're not fucking enough. That's why young people are not having sex. That's why they're doing these college encampments.
I mean, look, he's most of his insight is pretty self-discrediting, but like I think in this case, a lot of what he seems to offer and the reason that people seem to respond to it, aside from just respecting him for the platform that he already has, is that it's because he is offering a way of like talking about the masculinity crisis that isn't right coded, but is instead like meant to be coded for like MSNBC style people.
Yeah.
Here, it is the Democratic Party. I said this on your show a couple years ago. I believe the Democratic Party is dead. I believe it's been taken over, and they lied to the voters. They say, oh, no, we're Democrats because they didn't think America could handle the word Marxist or communist. But now it's in your face. They're telling you they're going to take your money, they're going to take your businesses, they're going to take your homes, and they're going to tell you that this country is a disaster, so therefore we have to remake it. This is why Democrats like James Carville are terrified. Or as another one put it this way, we quote, we're in mortal danger. I wrote it down. There was a Democratic strategist that said right now the Democratic Party is in mortal danger. Why? Because they understand their party is dead. They are now the Communist Party of America.
Well, Megan Hayes on this very program a couple of blocks ago, earlier this hour. They aren't us. She doesn't claim the socialists as Democrats. It's fascinating. Yet they give them money to run in these races.
Yeah, they're funding them. Follow the money. If you're sending them money, you believe in them, you support them, you advocate for them.
Be sure to like and
James Carville fantasizing about leaving the party. I'm like,
oh, this is a debate. He hates America. James Carville versus Hasan Piker and Tucker versus Trump with Vinny Oshana.
Sorry, that is not a legible fucking caption. What does that say?
Abdul Sayed. They're talking about Abdul Sayed. James Carville is like duking it out.
Oh, so it's like because everybody
look at this squad. It's Piers with James Carville, Vinny Oshana, and I guess like Dave Smith too. I don't know if he's on it or not. Hang on.
Don't you ever just want to watch like I don't know, like an old firing line or something?
No, this is awesome. Talking about Hasan Piker for almost 30 minutes is tiring. Get the man and let him explain himself. Piers gives Churchill a pass on the millions who died from famine in India. Vinny, where's your daddy PBD? The irony in Vinny and Lindy mocking Abdul for his name when they both changed their real name. I went in directly to the comments because that's where the good stuff is.
you're sweetening the deal.
Why does anybody still listen to James Carville?
All these people do is sit around and talk about how no one talks about James Carville anymore. If you respond to stupid people,
I love third person.
Yeah, I'm going to skip the James Carville interview. I'm sorry. No disrespect to you, Mr. Carville, but I really don't need to hear from you.
Is Cenk Uygur, the founder and CEO of the Young Turks, Dave Smith, host of Part of the Problem, Vinny Oshana from the PBD podcast,
met him last
Angry
night.
Patriot, and Lindy Lee, the former DNC fundraiser and author
built.
of Unburdened.
Whoa, Lindy Lee!
Yeah. Oh, what a blast from the past. He met Chunky Weigert last night, And he was like, thank you so much for your service on the third party initiative with Tucker Carlson. It was crazy. I was like, damn, no, I didn't know you fuck with Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene like that. And he was like, yeah, no,
it was absolutely, that was what we talked about, and not at all just like mostly like talking about how much we like New Jersey.
No, it was mostly
about the third party.
Yeah, no, he was like, I love New Jersey, the state of New Jersey, which I'm from, but not as much as I love Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson.
That was
Joe Kent,
and the idea of like taking all the doing like a Justice League style thing with those guys, but with all like my people on the left,
Yeah.
And then it's like we bring them together.
That's what he said to Jack.
That's what I said. I was like, listen, I'm with it, bro.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we didn't talk about New Jersey at all.
It reads, a self-described Marxist with an NSF MS Now vocabulary. He's become famous as a peddler of incendiary takes.
Wait, NSF?
Not so much moving me over to
MS Now.
Oh, I thought he meant like National Science Foundation for a second.
No.
I was like,
that was
so
the,
like
the
you're
Rolling
a science
Stones
guy?
the Rolling Stones reports that NSF
MS now. That's clever.
Yeah.
That's
window
clever. I was
throwing
confused.
a brick through it. Among his greatest
speeches died when you cover this. Wait, what? Oh, you mean fucking Minecraft? Oh, I got scared. I was like, the fuck?
hits, America deserved 9/11. There's a lot we can learn from the Chinese Communist Party. Let the streets soak in red capitalist blood, most of which he'd later walk back, if not apologize for.
Well, not the Chinese Party for Communism. The Communist Party of China, I did not walk back at all. I think that's a very valid take. It's so crazy.
Goes on, Piker's a matinee handsome progressive icon who's uniquely talented at translating radical left politics for the kind of Gen Z bros. And the accompanying photo shoot has a...
Why the fuck does everybody look like somebody just died? Like, I'm sorry. This is like everybody in this panel, your loving uncle included. Yeah, because everybody there looks like they are so not happy about something. Like, they just smelled something. Anyway.
Picture of him on a motorbike and by a pool looking like a movie star.
Have they ever invited you on? No, Piers invites me on all the time. To be fair to Piers Morgan, he asks me to be on all the fucking time. I'm the one who doesn't go on Piers' show. So this is one of the few instances where like it's not his fault. It's my fault.
And the problem with this, I think, Cenk, is that when a lot of Americans see quotes like America deserved 9/11 and they've been regurgitated because of Hasan's rising profile, and they say there's a lot we can...
Wait. Everyone's saying America deserved 9/11 because of my comments from 2019 now. Like, what if another 9/11 happens because of it? Is that the argument? Like, what? Hasan Piker, you're normalizing 9/11. You're normalizing 9/11 and you're making it happen again, potentially.
Learn from the Chinese Communist Party and let the streets soak in red capitalist blood. They see these quotes come back and they think this guy is very extreme. And they believe they have a right to be fearful of people like him becoming the faces of the Democrat Party. Before I go to Vinny to talk about that, what would you say in his defense?
Yeah, look, we are all on the air for literally tens of thousands of hours. So I've debated Hasan a lot of this stuff, and he comes from the more, I don't know what word to ever put on it, radical left, max left, whatever it is, right? But again, I'm in favor of Big Ten, and I come from the populist left. So there are some things that are just, you misspeak, and it happens. And he said about 4 dumb things out of, 10, 20, 30,000 hours on air, which, you want to disagree with those? Good news. He also disagrees with those. In fact, the 9/11 comment, he came on the Young Turks right afterwards and disavowed it. So it's that people are trying to make it seem like he still believes it when he disavowed it instantly. Now, if you want to get into a real substantive debate about, hey, where on the socialism, communism, capitalism spectrum we should be, great. I mean, Hasan and I have had that debate for hours and hours. That's at least substantive. We used to do something called agitprop for our members on the Young Turks, where Hasan and I would only debate those kind of economic issues.
Okay.
So that's a legitimate debate, but going back and nitpicking each comment, come on, Vinny, you and I have also said things we probably wish we hadn't said.
Hold on. I've never said America deserved 9/11.
All right, well, Vinny, your response.
Vinny hasn't even spoken yet, and he's already turning red, bro. The man turns red thinking about me. Is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, well, with all due respect, I have so many things to say, Piers, and thank you for having me on. I miss you. I've been gone for a while, but I keep hearing this big tent Democratic Party, and you know what? Is majority is inside these tents are freaking clowns. So Cenk, you're having these Cenks giving whatever. I've said crazy stuff. You know what? I've never said, Cenk.
It's called Janksgiving when I have Cenk on during Thanksgiving and we debate, like family style debates. Vinny knows. My goat, Vinny Oshana, knows about Janksgiving. Wow. Wow. You don't have to sit through and watch this and punish yourself.
I mean, I'm more just amazed now at how Matthew Bevilacqua survived The Sopranos, dying in this, in that show, to then become a guy on Patrick Bet David's podcast.
Excuse me, he's not Italian. He's actually, I think, Armenian.
Sure,
Vinny is.
I would, sure, but I'm mainly the idea of like Cenk, of like him also. But now, again, I've moved past that because I'm now just dealing with the fact that I'm thinking about him sitting in front of his computer, like watching YouTube clips of like you and Cenk, like getting ready for this conversation.
Yeah, I hold on. I have some things I can't explain yet that are materializing.
My entire life, America deserved Americans, over 3,000 dying, burning to death, and jumping to their freaking death. And there's no excuse for that. Cenk, I don't care. I've never said anything, and I'm pretty sure you've never said anything remotely to that. So you have these Thanksgiving dinners. Do you ever talk to him about this? About the saying, you know?
wait. What is he supposed to say? Every Thanksgiving, Cenk is supposed to be like, do you still disavow your former comments?
I mean, also, like, I just don't know what he's expecting. Also, like
no, these guys are so funny where they're like, no, you have to kill yourself. Like you've done this heinous crime. You've done this heinous crime, so you just have to die now. You know? And I'm sure he has more choice quotes in here. He's going to start hitting the Hamas and all this
Kill
shit.
them, kill those mother effers, and those mother effers, let the streets soak in their effing blood. If you cared about Medicare or Medicare fraud, kill Rick Scott. My nephew, who's 5 years old, said the F word, and my brother called me the other day, and I told him off. Like as a child, but like in a respectful.
He's goated. He's so goated. Personal anecdote about your 5-year-old nephew. You know, he's establishing that he still has relatives that talk to him. This is very important to establish.
I said, don't you ever use bad words and don't do that. I'm curious in these little dinners. You're not talking to him about that, Cenk, to say that as a New Yorker and how embarrassed and how ashamed I am that these people like AOC are like, no, yeah, he said he's sorry. There's some things, Piers, that you can say you're sorry for, that deep down inside you're saying that he's over it. He just removed one of the photos he has in his stream room, and he put the World Trade burning. Okay, so don't give me this, he forgot. But you know how we got to this point, Piers, as populist, whatever, all these Hassans and everything, is because people like James Carville, for the past 10 years, all it's been is Trump. Trump is Hitler, we're Nazis, we're deplorables, and
Bro,
now when the TDS dust has settled,
on TV now?
look who they're left with. Look who they're left with.
This is literally why I don't go on Piers' show.
Like, it wasn't just him, though. It was I mean, Joe Scarborough, who's not exactly a shrinking violet. You know, he was also up and at him. It's a lot. It's a lot is all I'm saying. It's a lot of shouting.
Yeah.
The AOCs, the Mamdanis, the El Abdul, whatever the hell his name is, that want to abolish ICE. They want to defund the police. They want open borders. And when you mention the SAVE Act, it's racist. How dare you ask people to prove that they're here because Kamala Harris and the Biden administration left the border open for 4 years on purpose. And this is it, okay? So I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. When you say stupid shit like America deserved 9/11,
well, I thought
and
cursing
AOC
was
yesterday
bad.
was like,
I'm sorry.
yeah, but he said he's sorry.
I'm sorry. I thought cursing was bad.
Dude, every time Vinny goes on a rant, I have no idea what the fuck he's like.
He's awesome, dude. I'm kind of sold now. I didn't like
he gets so mad that he can't make like a coherent point.
This is what I was saying. They worked themselves up into a state because it's the only way that you can sensibly talk about this shit, because it doesn't make sense unless you're just like ranting and you get momentum that way. And so then you start saying stuff like this.
Wait, what is this? On PBD podcast, Vincent Oshana praises Nick Fuentes and supports him with his feud with Tucker Carlson.
Vinny, how are you processing this here when you're hearing Tucker and Nick?
Brendan, by the way, has an extremely good PBD impression.
I'm a numbers guy, all right? And I'm a big fan of Patrick Bet-David because I love to do valuetainment. And that's why I'm always thinking to myself, I'm going to ChatGPT it, I'm going to grok it, and I'm going to learn the truth.
I'm going to skin Grimace to make my suit.
I mean, this is fire. I would wear that suit.
I mean, listen, people can say whatever they want. He's openly racist. He does whatever. You have to give credit where credit due. Nick Fuentes is really good at what he does. He's very, very.
He's really good at racism.
Yo, credit. I mean,
bro. He's the
like.
goat
There's a way of like expressing that like Nick Fuentes is very good at what he does, but that was like beyond fair.
No, it's awesome. He set it up as like,
yo, not that. Hate the guy. Don't agree with his kill the Jews platform. Don't agree with his put the boobs in camps platform. But very good at what he does. A pro, he's consummate pro.
No, I love that.
Consummate pro.
I love that he started it off by reminding everybody that Nick Fuentes is racist, and then he made it seem like he was very good at doing racism, which he likes. He's like, look, you can't deny he's the best at racism.
Listen,
bro.
they did a study. The cross burnings in the neighborhoods where people are watching Nick Fuentes' show, they're up. Can't argue with results.
Yeah,
Numbers
don't lie.
At articulating, he brings receipts. Yeah, he has said some outlandish stuff. He said, like, remember when you said that he says the N-word, and he even said during that show, he was like, Patrick Bet-David said he won't let me have it on and everything like that. In regard to...
He's so capable if he drops those words.
100%.
He's going to get a bigger, wider audience.
Which I think, Pat, to be honest with you, I think he's slow.
Why are they giving the neo-Nazi tips on how to be more... Dude, these are the same guys who are like, yeah, this Hasan guy is the most dangerous guy in American politics. And here he is being like, here, dude, listen, I know you do the Holocaust stuff.
This is like where like Hugbox doesn't quite cover the environment that they're in, right? Because like this is a product of the fact that even if they themselves even if they like have a self-conception of being like, we're really different from Nick Fuentes, like he's doing his own thing, he's very good at it, but he's doing his own thing. And so like, even if like that's their take on it, right? What they're sort of not like, what is kind of implicitly surrendered, right, in that is the idea that like they don't see that they're like in this like right wing gestalt like all day, and then maybe they self-identify as right wingers. I don't care. That's not the point. It's that like they're like implicitly like engaging with and totally just rocking with like all of the same premises that a guy like that has. And so bit by bit, probably not over that long a period of time either, like they begin to not even realize that like, even though they're like swimming in the same fucking dirty water that a guy like Nick Fuentes is, but he's doing his thing over there. We're doing our thing over here. We're not the same, even though, they may as fucking well be so much of the time.
Patrick Bet-David from the PBD podcast reveals that he hosted Ben Shapiro and that Shapiro said something he never said before about Nick Fuentes. He then commands Groypers to tag each other and watch out for the collab drop on Wednesday.
Horrible Hamas, horrible terrorism, horrible. But the response, I think one of them could be the response of Israel was so brutal and so over the top that it's making people bad, because it could have easily.
You know what's crazy? I had Ben Shapiro on last week.
Yeah.
And the podcast is going to come out this Wednesday. And we talked about Nick Fuentes, and he said something he's never said about Nick Fuentes, which I think the audience, Groypers, go tag each other, and you'll know.
This Wednesday,
it'll drop.
Groypers.
And then we talked about his biggest blind spot. I was surprised that he was actually open to the discussion of his blind spot. He actually openly talked about it.
Okay, his blind spot.
It's a great part of the discussion.
I love how intellectual these guys are.
This is awesome. Sorry, this is fucking crazy.
Dude,
I actually feel kind of bad because like I do actually feel like if somebody were like once upon a time, Brendan James, who I make blowback with, when a job he had many years ago, he worked at Talking Points Memo, and he just had to watch Fox News constantly. And like I think that the problem with the media environment being what it is now, right, is that like even though they try to delegate a lot of this to like AI and making transcripts, you lose a lot of the magic of it, which is like by watching this, like you do actually like this is like kind of an interesting peek into like how these people understand themselves and like their networking.
Yeah.
And so on. Like you do learn stuff that way. It's just like buried in like 50 pounds of pig shit.
That's why they should pay me to do it, because I do it for free. I do it for fun. I love.
I was going to say, I don't think it's free, but it is fun.
Yeah, I love Patrick Bet-David.
One of the best parts of discussion.
Yeah.
But you know what else he talked about, what Israel did wrong? He says, you know what's the biggest criticism Netanyahu gets in Israel today? I'll let him describe it.
Yeah.
He says, in Israel, both on the left and on the far right, they're both united on one thing, that Bibi didn't respond fast enough and strong enough against Hamas. Listen, we'll see what happened. And again, the Ben Shapiro interview.
What?
I don't know.
What the fuck does that mean?
He's saying like they should have gone harder.
No, but like what the fuck? Like the far left? Is he just talking about Gadi Eisenkot, who's not the far left?
No,
like,
he's
this is what I mean. Like what the fuck is he talking about?
That's what the the conscientious objectors were all and
Like I don't think he's making.
Ofer
I don't think he's making the point either that like. You know, the valid criticism that like even left people, self-identified elements of the Israeli left, like were calling for swift reprisals. You know that day, like he's specifically
that's not
what he's
good.
saying. Like
but it's also not exactly like good for Americans to hear about Israel if your goal is to make Israel look good.
I just don't understand. Like
it's not. It's one of those things.
Oh well,
it's one of those things that normal people hear and go, "Oh my god, they're monsters."
Well, and also there's this really difficult, I think, problem where Israel is seen, particularly for people like Ben Shapiro, no doubt, as like a place where you get the real straight dope on what's going on, and then your job is to figure out how to transmit that to your audience and so forth. And so it means that like you become obviously like quite stupid that way. And so you say stuff like that, and it's just like you pass it on to even dumber people, and it just gets, you know, it's shit out into the toilet bowl. It's hilarious. It's a waste of everyone's goddamn time.
They should have started genociding the Palestinians faster is not exactly a great point.
Not sorry, because he believes it. He says he's not patriotic.
Shouting,
he dresses up like Mao Zedong, like that's his hero, cosplaying a freaking mass murderer. It's a joke.
Mass murderer.
It's a joke, and people like James Carville saying, "Oh, I'm excited, and we got talent." Gavin Newsom is your number one, AOC's number two, and Kamala's number three. Talent my ass, Piers, and I'm sorry for.
Why are you so mad about Kamala Harris?
Again, this cursing.
But also, I just don't understand. Like, if you're a Republican, like, why are you mad that the Democratic Party talent pool is ass? If that's the case,
well, because
like, you should be doing a different reaction. You should be like, ha ha ha. Like, you should be laughing that the Democrats are going to lose or something. Like, you could only be this mad if you were a Democratic voter and you're like angry that those are your best options or something.
I think this guy got his doctorate at the wrong place.
That's the Democratic Party for you.
Vinny, I've missed you too.
Okay.
Love the passion.
I love you.
Dave Smith, welcome back to Uncensored, Dave Smith.
Can I address that?
Truly, I've got to say, it is a fascinating time for people like me that love American politics who are not actually American. Because on the right, you have this enormous split between the Tucker Carlson side, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey and others, and the rest of the MAGA.
I love the universe these guys live in, where this is like a huge seismic split taking place in the Republican Party.
Yeah, not just like
this is purely an online phenomena, and obviously the online world is vast, and there's like different ecosystems, different echo chambers, and it's funny that there's like this one very specific plank of political commentary where they're like, there's a real movement.
They want to pretend like it's not just some undifferentiated masses of stupids and like stupids politics. Like, I know that there are like, you can draw distinctions and slice them, and you can be like a bit more nuanced, but like at the level of conversation these guys are talking about, like they're having to pull so much shit out of their ass. It's so. I mean, I'm excited though because we're about to get Master of Disaster Lindy Lee. I hope.
Crowd, and
She's
on
the
the
reason I'm
left
sticking
you have
around.
this.
I think you're wrong about why they're focusing on socialism left candidates. This news cycle is the most my Republican parents have tuned into politics for weeks. This is how they plan to win. Fear-mongering with red scare tactics to energize the base to vote because they're worried about low turnout and can't point the wins on economy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that the key part here is that phrase for weeks. Let's let's see how many more months of $5 gas, makes that go. I just don't. Sorry, doesn't pass the smell test for me.
No, guys, the real problem is not the fact that we're waging war on Iran at the behest of Israel, and now now gas is $5 a gallon, and groceries are more expensive than ever before. But remember these guys on the other side that want to give you health care, and some of them have funny sounding names. Like, I don't think that's gonna.
Well, that thing is like, to me, I will say like a tell about like where people like this are just getting their information, and where frankly probably that guy is putting into AI to get his talking points, which is that like you're leaning on these like really stupid, glib, like racist jokes, like Abdul, like whatever the fuck his name is, hey, I'm walking in, like that crap. Like I hate it. Like it's like cheap and it's lazy, and it tells you that these guys aren't actually like it's just they're getting it from like the slurry. Like they've nothing. They're getting it from YouTube autoplay. I don't know what to say.
Enormous split now between the Mamdanis, the Al Sayeds, the AOCs, and the more mainstream Democrats, the Carvilles of this world. And it's very hard to predict how this all plays out. But what do you make of what is happening here?
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly, I think the Democratic Socialists are ascendant on the left, and I would really largely agree with I think both Cenk and Vinny's critiques of the establishment of the Democratic Party. And it's just so obvious to me. And it's amazing to watch an interview with James Carville where he talks about how like, oh, why are people embracing wokeism, or why are they embracing democratic socialism or anti-Israel feeling, and as if we're supposed to ignore what the Democratic establishment's been doing this entire time, which was all through the Obama years, embracing and expanding George W. Bush's failed war on terrorism, giving us record high government.
Yeah, Dave Smith, that's why you should keep voting for Donald Trump. That's the smart thing to do. I love that this guy always snaps back into that position. Like, oh yeah, I hate the Democrats because they love doing wars. That's why I voted for Trump twice or 3 times or however many times he fucking voted for Trump.
And spending record low artificial interest rates, which created a cocktail that was just a gift to Wall Street. It was nothing but bailouts to the politically connected and to Wall Street. As Vinny pointed out, they had the open borders. They went the establishment of the Democratic Party back to back to back, went all in on Russiagate, the lockdowns, and the COVID vax, and got all of them completely wrong, while smearing the rest of the country for not buying into it. I mean, just everything. The war in Ukraine, they went all in and got the whole thing completely wrong. I mean, so obviously the wind is at the back of everyone who just simply opposed the genocide in Gaza, or just simply opposed the open borders, or just this is where all the energy is now. But I gotta say, I really find a lot lacking in kind of Cenk's broad defense of a lot of this stuff. Look, there's something so inherently dishonest about this entire democratic socialist movement, starting with the fact that Bernie Sanders, who first popularized it, is not a democratic socialist and doesn't even know what democratic socialism means. I mean, Cenk, you must have seen when he was on Bill Maher's show, what was it, last year, a little over that, and they asked him about the difference, his position between equality versus equity. He had never heard the terms before. He was completely deer in the head.
I have no idea what the fuck this guy's talking about, but I assume these are all clips that I suspect he has seen that have done numbers on America B Twitter, America B YouTube. Like, you know what I mean? You know when someone is like popping off about shit and you're just like, and you're like, I have no clue what the fuck you're talking about, but you seem very passionate about it.
Recently, Brendan and I were kicking around like he and I we were bullshitting about this thing in a project we were working on, and it got me thinking about like later on, and I've been like really thinking about this lately, which is like, what is like the median, like if you were to just think of like an average American at this moment right now, and like what is it, like what are they doing at a given point in time? For me, it is this like, it is somebody sitting like scrolling at their phone, like kind of half paying attention to the person in front of them, and then realizing at some point in the interaction, like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And it's not just because you're not paying attention, but it's because you realize like this person exists in a different reality than me. And like,
yes,
everybody, like, I feel like that is that interaction I just described. That is like the default, like status of communication between like two individuals in this country.
Yeah, no, the coworker conversation.
That's crazy, bro.
There's a lot of coworker conversations that are taking place that would blow your fucking mind. Okay, that would. And depending on how old those coworkers are, it could be something as insane as like, Thomas Massey had a threesome with AOC and Ilhan Omar.
I will say it's important for us to decenter the ego here, because sometimes you're the coworker.
Oh,
no,
like
you are like it's
America B is the real America.
Yeah,
that's
like,
the truth.
It's like you're it's like, oh, dude,
it's like top 5 songs on the Billboard playing list are like all country music songs that I've never heard before, and people sincerely believe it's because USAID was underfunded because USAID was secretly pumping rap music to make the children demonic.
The thing you want to really get depressed, it's like the AI stuff and how many of the new songs and like pop music charts or whatever are AI. Or have like aggressive AI.
We are full cattle. we're moving beyond the point of cattle, where cattle has sentience, and moving into the Matrix world where they're going to put us in the pod.
It's like
we're going to be in the cuck pod,
like cattle cubed, literally.
Yeah. America B is just Love Island. Is that what it is? Is that what?
It's there's a whole new. There is like I should say there is like a Substack people are reading that came out that people are like is like trying to delineate this, and I do want to read it, and so I should give it a to do before commenting too further about the framework, because I don't know what the proper heuristics are for America B, and I don't want to lie.
Okay.
I respect these kinds of this conceptual work. It's important to take it seriously.
Dave Smith criticized you in the stupidest way. In the event that Hassan-like commies were to actually control the Department of Agriculture or something, there's no worse enemy. Lindsay-style neocon apologia is worth the thing about our current government, and the biggest risk to usher
is the worst thing about our current government, and the biggest risk to usher the above mentioned
Hassan-style takeover is so tough to say purely. Oh, he's doing the left is too radical for me.
I mean, I
agree
also
with the left
think
on the anti-war message, but I can't say that because then my entire subscriber base would plummet.
one of my favorite things that like people do on Twitter sometimes, it's the equivalent to me. It is in writing. It is the same thing. Like the reading version of this is moving your lips when you read, but it is people who write as they are thinking. Like you hear the gears turning, like as they are doing it, and not in like a productive way, and then they just kind of hit send, and so you get like their like half first draft of a thought, and that's what they express. That's what that guy sounds like to me.
This is it. This is the America A versus BSA. Yeah. Unspoken cultural allegiances are polarizing this country more sharply than class or gender, or even politics. What's America B? Past point of reconciliation.
It's a long thing.
Who is this guy?
Liam.
Okay, whatever. Well, I'll look at it later. I'm not going to read it right now. We got real content.
I was going to say, I'm sorry. We need to hear Lindy Lee.
It's like if you asked me about the non-aggression principle and I hadn't heard of it. What are you talking? This is your entire life's work. Bernie Sanders claims to be a Democrat.
I love his whole his whole criticism of Bernie Sanders hinges on Bernie Sanders doesn't understand what socialism is.
Yeah.
But here I am, libertarian guy. I'm going to explain how I understand it and why it's dangerous, as opposed to Bernie. He's just a stupid guy who's spent 80 years doing this shit.
Democratic socialist runs as essentially a welfarist. We should have a higher minimum wage and universal health care. Well, that's basically just being a liberal Democrat. But then he uses the term where Professor Richard Wolff and Bhaskar Sankara, they'll tell you that they mean revolution, democratizing the entire workplace, outlawing all employers. Well, hey, so now these guys don't run as revolutionaries. They run as, hey, we're just talking about the unaffordability crisis, but they use
what Dave Smith is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just not funny. He's never funny.
Well, I was thinking like, oh, I thought that this guy's shtick would be that he would say his things in like a funny way.
Can someone explain America A versus America B theory to me? I'm trying to explain it to a beautiful woman. Nobody wants to admit this, but America A versus America B is largely an inner white class struggle. It lets downwardly mobile Brooklynites with zero in savings and an MFA look down on lake house see-do types. Okay. I mean,
yeah,
I guess. And they're doing a lot better than the downwardly mobile Brooklynites.
Yeah, I mean,
broadly.
like it's, like in the way that like the guys at the end of the movie WALL-E, were doing.
Well, they have,
like
they have things
doing better.
People, yes,
sure.
People in America B, they have things. People in America A don't really own anything.
But like, I also don't like. I do on some level like. I don't think these things like totally. I don't know. I need to do the reading. I don't want to comment before doing the reading. I need to study.
The term democratic socialist. It's inherent. And look, I'll just say this. It's an extension of the dishonest thing that liberals and leftists have always done, which is that you frame the debate as whether we want free stuff or not. You frame the debate as whether you believe in free healthcare, free education, when, of course, my 7-year-old could understand that there's no such thing as free anything as long as doctors are getting
fucking. Dude, he just fucking destroyed my world. Do you not feel shook? You seem awfully calm. He just delivered the greatest critique
I just don't know how it's like. I don't even think I just don't even think he believes what he's saying.
You don't believe how one comedian can be so clear in his message and so great.
Give me like Rob Schneider, like ambling through like the world's worst like impromptu comedy routine, you know, in front of like a bajillion people at CPAC.
He just said a 7-year-old understands socialism doesn't work.
I just don't he's just a Twitter bot come to life. Like, you know what I mean?
It's awesome because it's like it's a rehashing of virtually every single talking point that you know, PragerU, from the American Enterprise Institute's archives to PragerU, it's always the same rehashed statements.
I mean, but it's like
it's
like also his.
And it's funny because he's a libertarian, which is the most like 7-year-old ideology you could have.
Well, it's to me the idea that like
it just
also
falls apart.
Well,
when
it's
you
like in this
think about the concept of roads.
Well, I just think of it in this country more especially. It's like, yeah, man, like look at all this liberty and how great things are going. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Paid and teachers are getting paid and construction workers are getting paid.
All right, what's the plug?
The plug is Equator and Verso are doing something this fall that I thought was really cool. You could look it up, or maybe somebody in chat can drop it.
Equator Mag?
Yes, they're doing a reading series with Verso online for Late Victorian Holocausts, the book by Mike Davis. Let's see if somebody pulls that up. Somebody drop it, please, so I can click on it. I'm not leaving until somebody drops it. Fine. I don't want to use your computer anyway.
Get back to the
but I'm getting back in the cuck spot. Jeez. But they're doing a really, really cool looking reading series. It's moderated by two great guys, Gavin Muller and Dennis Hogan. And then they have a lot of really cool guests who are going to be a part of it. Great scholars like Rebecca Carl, one of the great China scholars of our time.
Look at this fucking guy. No amount of your unpatriotic words can surpass what I did in Abu Ghraib. I win. Abu Ghraib participant.
Ugh.
Sick, dude.
Anyway, from the evil to the sublime. Yes, this is it. This is the book, but they're doing a reading series over 5 sessions with a lot of really great scholars, and it just looks like the kind of thing that I think people in your chat may be interested in, and I encourage them to sign up and participate.
All right. Noah Kulwin, I'll see you later.
Ciao. Later, everybody.
Okay. Noah Kulwin suggested reading a book on this broadcast, not realizing that many of you are carrying on the tradition of being firmly committed to real Americanism, which is being illiterate. But Noah's out. But let me tell you, we're back in.